Hello everybody, how are we doing? Welcome to the Rex March Madness Group B. Hopefully today a day that has a little bit more length to the games than what we had yesterday. Yesterday's group was pretty quick and the final series actually helped out a little bit with that, but I'd love to see some more back and forth today. The individual games yesterday were a little one-sided as well, so yeah, I think fair to say that we've got a few reasons to hope for to be hoping for some fun games today. I think it's a very fun group as well. I actually think it's a group that is very likely to be very interesting. So we'll see how it all pans out as we get ready to hop into our first match in just a few moments. We are getting ready. Obviously, just get some videos done and so on as well. We'll get that figured out. I'll try and get this underway nice and quickly. But I'm not in charge, so we're just kind of going with the flow. But I'll sit here and kind of hope that it starts quickly, I guess, along with you guys. How's everyone doing? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you guys. And excited to, like I say, kick off into some StarCraft 2. It's going to be a CLEM ByuN series to start us off today. CLEM's PvT has definitely not quite been as dominant as CLEM might like it to be lately, so that is already kind of a point of interest here. You know, is CLEM going to be able to fix that? Is that, you know, going to be a continuous problem? Yeah, his PvT has definitely been kind of more of a talking point lately. Like, at first his PvT seemed like no one could really figure it out, but now people are getting the better of him fairly frequently, even, I would say, which obviously kind of raises the question of, you know, like I say, has he been figured out a little bit? So that's going to be one of our big questions going into today, especially because obviously Q is in this group. We got Shin as well. They'll be playing later, but, you know, I think if CLEM wants to get out of here, he's going to have to win a PvT unless... I guess he could lose. Nah, because he can't beat Shin twice because they don't play each other first. So yeah, he's gonna have to win some PvT. Let's see. Swatches back to the TVT, which obviously we're not really expecting to happen either. So yeah, that's where we are at. That's our expectations. And that's how our day is going. At least to start us off, like I said, we'll be getting to ByuN CLEM very shortly. Just get into the party, get some videos done. Not sure how many videos we need, but like I say, I can't imagine it's going to take us too long from this point to get this underway and to truly just kick this off. So yeah, into some action, get this going. Welcome all, as yes, just get some of the videos already started up here. ByuN, I'm gonna throw a video out on Talisman, which has been videoed in every series of this event so far. Clean my glasses so we can see the games as clearly as possible. Beautiful, incredible. Alright, yeah, let's get this ready. Eldorado viewed from CLEM. What's my best glass cleaning tip? Fascinating question. Not one I've had to answer a lot in my time, but my best glasses clearing tip, probably make sure you clean it with a clean part of your t-shirt or hoodie. I'm not one of these guys that carries around the proper glasses cleaner and little wipes and stuff, because it's just not worth it. So I always just clean up my hoodie, but there's no point rubbing it with a part of your hoodie that's dirty, right? Which obviously this one's not, because it's fresh on today, but sometimes, you know, get out and about, things happen. I don't really know what this feels like. It's been a much deeper answer than it ever needed to be. Alright. Hello, DJ3, how you doing? Hello everyone again, good to see you guys. Excited to get us into some games. I'm actually, while they're videoing, just going to run one more round of ads on the Twitch just to give us a little bit more freedom. Just means that we don't have to spam the ads between the games as much. And obviously not much really happening just yet, so I may as well just sneak them in while we can freely. Nice. Replay pack? Replay pack. When was our last replay pack? I can't even find my own Discord anymore. Oh yeah, new replay pack is due, huh? Yeah, replay pack is due. I'll put it on the to-do list. It'll be a few days. Trying to think what's coming up. So we got Boomer Bash qualifiers this weekend. I'm just trying to think if it's worth delaying it a couple of days for qualify, but probably not. So I'll probably try and do that tomorrow. Replay pack. Nice. delay. There's no delay. We don't use stream delay anymore unless tournaments tell us to. You can't find anywhere to watch Hero vs. Bunny from the qualifier yesterday. Yeah, we didn't stream it because so I wasn't feeling super great on the day of the qualifier, and they started. I asked them to wait, but they started without us, and then literally told me the score the moment they finished the series. So I was not in the mood for casting replays for a series I knew the result of, because, like I say, I wasn't feeling great either. Honestly, the games were like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and 10 minutes, so I don't think it was some epic. I think Hero died to a couple of earlier attacks from Bunny. They will be. I got sent the replays, so I can put them in the replay pack. Hang on. I mean, I can put them. Are you in the Discord? I can put the replays somewhere. I want to check them out. Because they sent me the replays, they just sent me the result first. In the Discord, alright, I'll put them in the subscriber section. Oh, just because they're in a... Just because they'll be in a different folder right now, I'll put them in the subscriber section. And then the proper replay pack will come, the proper replay pack will come, probably tomorrow, over the weekend, most likely. Yo, Kiank, TQD, thank you so much for gifting a sub, going out to Zarkton. Thank you so much for the generosity of a gifted sub, always appreciated. Thank you so very much, helps us to keep on powering up StarCraft. We're doing our best to run as much StarCraft 2 as we possibly can. Obviously, WardiTV Spring Championship ideas are looming, so that will be fun. As players are readying up, by the way, so we should be set to go into this CLEM ByuN series in just a moment. And welcome, Zarkton. Thanks for getting gifted a sub. Hello, hello, everyone. Countdown is starting. You guys want to hear the countdown? Do you believe me? Here you go. Countdown is on. And we will get this one ready to rumble. Alright, Whispers of Gold. Coming on through. Let's get into game, and let's get this party started. Like I say, I'm really hoping for a good group today, and I think we've got a lot of players that typically play very fun matchups against each other, and I think that's going to go a long way today, so I'm excited to get into this, cast some games. As we are going to start off in, give it a second for some health bars, the top left-hand corner of the map with the blue Terran player. This is going to be ByuN. And he is taken on in the bottom right-hand side, playing the Protoss as he continues to do in this matchup. This is going to be Team Liquid's CLEM. So game number 1 of this best of 3, and it is best of 3s all day today. 5 best of 3s in total, like I say. Kind of hoping that today's games are a little bit longer than yesterday's. If we do have a shorter stream, we're going to do probably some non-StarCraft at the end of it. I didn't decide what yet, but yeah, it would be nice to do a bit of a longer stream, because the last couple streams we've done have been a little bit on the shorter side of life, which sometimes is just the way that it goes. Yeah, yesterday's group was just unfortunate. It's always the risk when you do these 5 best of 3 groups. Just, you know, all it takes is a couple of faster series. Even one longer series doesn't save you too much, and the day passes very quickly, so... Yeah, fun matchup, and the other players in this group, Kua and Shin, they will be playing the second series, and it's just double elimination group, so winners match, losers match, and decider match is the schedule for the day. I wonder if we're going to end up doing as much server hopping as we did yesterday. Yesterday it was like, NA, Korea, NA, Korea, NA. Today we start on an A. There's a possibility we have to do all the hopping again. I just thought it was funny that we never managed to do 2 servers in a row yesterday. With the way that the results played out, it was actually, honestly, there was a couple of cool games yesterday. It's just, a lot of the games were a little bit on that faster side of life. I've actually been really impressed by Solar lately. I'm excited to see how Solar can continue to develop. My only concern is that people are going to start figuring out what he's doing, because he's kind of playing the same thing quite repeatedly at the moment. So if you could kind of figure that out and sort that out, that would be great. I feel like that's my only concern for Solar right now. So, but yeah, excited to kind of see if he can keep bringing that sort of play, because it's nice to see someone else challenging the Clems and the Max Baxes and the heroes of the world. And of course, we're hoping that someone steps up to challenge Clem in this group. Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, like, I love Clem, but we're at the point where I want to see different people winning tournaments. So Clem has become the villain. He will become the target that we aim to dispose of as the Adept. Coming down this ramp is going to get the SCV here, or at least try to get the SCV. I was just going to chase that out. Hellion will get there. The Adept is going to shade away. And yeah, another Adept is going to be shading back as well. Hellion continues to move around. Blink coming up, Warp Gate coming in. I see ByuN actually opening up with that Banshee and the cloaking, so obviously gives us a chance to go very aggressive and very harassment heavy. So ByuN trying to deal damage early. Let's see what Clem's defense looks like as he chases this Hellion, which gets into the main base and confirms what we've kind of already seen at points here. Again, the Banshee, the tank, the Marines, and the cloak, all very much so just continuing through, doing their thing right now. It's going to give us a good push. Obviously, Banshees are very annoying harassment-wise, but you've also got the fact that, you know, tanks and Marines and Banshees together are all high DPS units, so you can push across the map. If the opponent doesn't get on top of that quickly, they can run into a lot of trouble, like I say, very quickly in general. So definitely a factor, as I do see the Adept very low. It's just about able to get away there in the end. 4 Prism starting up, the Blink very much so coming through, and add a couple of probes and a Stalker on into that as well. And that is where we stand for the moment. In the early minutes, obviously, we're really waiting to see if the Banshees can deal damage. Clem does not have an Observer, but could go Observer after Prism as he looks to apply some pressure with the Blink. It's also a case of, if you get the Observer, though, do you also have Stalkers at home? Because if he's looking to apply pressure with the Blink and he doesn't know what's up, then yes, the Stalkers might be across the map and they might not be where they need to be early on. As the first Banshee is flying through into Clem's natural as we speak. It cloaks up. There's no battery here, so we have to run. We have to wait for the Observer to pop. And already some damage being dealt here by ByuN, so he gets off to a very reasonable start. As the Banshee here, though, gets caught. So second Banshee gets caught, forced to cloak. I don't think it would have died without a cloak, actually, but would have taken more damage, perhaps. 4 workers down. Observer still chasing. The Banshee is just about able to stay out of reach. We try and get the siege up to cloak instead, but actually the Banshee was far enough away. So nice try from Clem. The Stalkers did see it for an extra second, so they got the shot off, but you need vision of the Banshee when the projectile hits, otherwise it doesn't count. And so the Banshee was back out of range of the Observer when those Stalker shots hit. That's why he didn't lose any HP. Comes back in again now, and the 1-2 punching is working out nicely. It's going to be 9. We're actually going to give up the Banshee, it seems. But we're going to get to 10 workers killed, so really not bad at all. Going to make it 11 and 12, so Clem is taking a little bit of a beating in the early stages. ByuN's harassment is delivering as he jumps up into the main base. He's looking for the stim cancel, and we're not going to get it. That Tech Lab is going to survive while burning. Obviously, this is looking worse and worse for Clem, who's failing to do damage himself, who is taking an absolute beating back at home. This is all about ByuN so far in this opening game of the best of 3. ByuN off to the races. And still has a Banshee alive as well, so he's not even necessarily completely done with this situation just yet. He can absolutely look for more. Another probe just went down somewhere along the way too. The Prism will try and make a play into the main base. And just try and again utilize these Stalkers, but ByuN's defense is very good. It's nice because obviously ByuN feels no pressure at all right now because he's done so much already for himself. So he doesn't have to kind of posture himself to try and get across the map. He's actually kind of fine just sitting at home and just making sure the Stalkers do nothing until he's extremely comfortable. He doesn't need any kind of timing here to help him out in this game. He has done damage. He's put himself into a lead, and all he needs to do now is hold tight and hopefully be able to get to a point here where he can close this game out with the incoming upgrades. Because once Stimpak Combat Shield and +1 attack hits, it's going to become a much bigger challenge for Clem to stay alive in this game once this Terran army starts to push. So it is absolutely looking fantastic here. If you are a ByuN fan, and if you're an upset fan as well, which I'm a fan of both right now, I want to see the upset. I want to see ByuN. ByuN's a player who Again, talking about players' forms lately a lot, and, you know, obviously because CLEM and Max Packs and Hero are so dominant, ByuN has been one of those players who I always feel as though should be playing a bit better than he has been playing recently. I feel like he's not quite been up to his usual standard. I feel like he's been lacking a little bit here and there, and I don't say this out of malice, just out of observation. I think, you know, there's a lot of matchups where we expect ByuN to look competitive, and he kind of gets rolled. There was definitely a period, I think it's actually even worse, 3-4 weeks ago. He was really just getting rolled in what felt like every single series he played. Feels like he stepped that up a little bit again now, but it's always on my mind at the moment. I'm always thinking that it's a factor as CLEM jumps on this army of ByuN. CLEM always has a way with this Protoss force to kind of get things done, which you really don't think you should be able to, and that's an example of it. Just scaring the Terran off in this situation is absolutely, utterly ridiculous. Like, the Terran is so far ahead in supply. It's been a terrible eco game for CLEM early on. And yet here you are, CLEM is stepping forward, attacking aggressively. Obviously there is a bit of power in the fact that you're kind of jumping on the Terran army. It's not set up, it's not siege. He's not quite in the position to fight, so he's scrambling a little bit as well. He wasn't mentally ready. But CLEM going to use that to his advantage, a blink for an extra Marauder as well. And this is huge, right? Because now you're getting yourself a whole bunch of additional damage done. And it just slows down the push of ByuN. And all of a sudden, ByuN is not quite in a, oh, I can just push and win this game kind of mindset. He's in a, I've got to play this game out a bit longer, which gives CLEM more chances to step up into the game and to stay in the game and to just have a good time. Now Zealots start to hit the mineral lines as well, so it just, you know, adds more opportunities for CLEM to deal damage that ByuN has to respond to correctly, else faces the wrath of a terrifying Protoss army in the end because you've been bullied for the next few minutes. Nice to get rid of the Prism immediately at least, because that's going to limit the Zealots that can appear and the positions they can appear into, so there is definitely a major benefit to that. That's the 9 SCVs going down. Extended Thermal Lance plus 2 attack. Zealot, Nexus, Colossus. Get everything on the way out. As CLEM settles himself into a 4th base as well. And yeah, he really did scare ByuN by just being out on the map. And like I say, I think if there's like a full-on fight that happens, if ByuN's a little bit more ready to take the fight, it's just a complete and utter disaster for CLEM. But the fact of the matter right now is that none of that has mattered. And we have kind of gotten away with it. And again, that's what CLEM is so good at. He's so good at scrapping out situations with his Protoss, which he shouldn't really be able to scrap out, which is terrifying, because then you think about what happens if CLEM actually just gets even better at defending a lot of the early game pressure and doesn't end up as behind with his, you know, in his PvT all the time, which seems to be his issue as of late. These Widow Mines are going to do a lot. Still feel like ByuN's army should be very successful, but 2 Colossus are going to go unanswered. The Zealots are going to survive to continue through onto that force as well. Going to keep this back. A couple of Vikings end up flying through the center as well, so they are also just going to come straight on by. A couple of Stalker shots hitting the Viking, doing some more damage. Plus 2 attack, plus 1 armor. I'm going to go hopping into the main base where we'll try for a little bit extra. Yeah, ByuN trailing on those upgrades, definitely one reason why CLEM can do well for himself. Knock down the pylon, that's not really powering anything, the Robo Bay, but we already finished Thermal Lance, so that's not going to change much. Don't even really need to rebuild that pylon outside of supply reasons. As don't get me wrong, ByuN is very much so still in the lead when it comes to supply and the numbers and so on, but like I say, it's becoming a little bit closer than I think he would have liked to have seen it as well, to be honest, so... Especially when you start off in just such a comfortable manner. Like, you get such a good lead, and it just feels though right now you can't... Like, it's weird because it feels like ByuN's not had a win in a while, but he's still absolutely leading in the game. And CLEM shows up, 3 Colossus are going to start playing, and suddenly ByuN's like, I'm the defender in this situation. So that's the fight. Refinery taking damage, a couple of Marines going down. These Colossus continue to shoot, Stalk step up, get rid of a Viking. Great control by CLEM. The Colossus are an issue. Like, if you don't have a proper answer to Colossus, they can sit back, and it's so hard to get rid of them. And they will find so much value over time, and that's what we are exactly seeing here. Just these Colossus being put to work. And boy, are they bringing some money home. As the Widow Mine gets set off there, there's one more Widow Mine we need to try and just get rid of, and then we can obviously clean that up as well. Third base is taking damage. I mean, ByuN has to fight through this. I'm surprised he didn't lift the base to give him a little bit more kind of, room to kind of attack in on. But he is very much so pushing forward right now. I'm just going to say GG apparently as he keeps chasing into the Colossus. Well, a disaster for ByuN because it started so freaking well for him. And then just... I actually think CLEM just got into his head. Straight up, I actually think CLEM was just in his head. I think CLEM jumps on that first army and is like, you know, I'm going to distract you, I'm going to make you feel bad, I'm going to make you feel a little bit unsure about this. And I think from that moment onwards, ByuN was just like, God damn it, like, how am I meant to win? I did so much and I can't do anything. And he could have still done stuff, but he just got scared. And then he got bullied by Colossus. He didn't have an answer to Colossus out. He's on his way to Ghost, which didn't help in the moment. Didn't really have any of them out initially for good EMPs to just, you know, brute force your way through the army, which is a possibility as well. And just didn't build any Vikings at all. Didn't respect the fact that CLEM could get to a whole bunch of Colossus. And yeah, obviously CLEM just started shaving units off, and ByuN's chasing Colossus down that just aren't dying. That's why CLEM's Protoss sees so much success, because he has so much success in the stage of the game, which is kind of beyond that initial point of, you know, he doesn't do great early game, but he has so much talent in being able to draw out and scrap out in a lot of those games. He's very good at figuring out what the Terran would do and how the Terran wants to trade and making that go the other way. And because of that, it really feels like he's able to manipulate so many lost causes into victories. And it really is true. We've seen this with CLEM's Protoss versus Terran so freaking much. It happens all of the time. And it's definitely one of those situations where I'm like, man, this is why it's so frustrating to watch him play. You know, this is why it's so good to watch him play pros, because you can see the talent is there. But he still does just lose some of those games where he gets behind and his opponent just manages to not let him, you know, play his way back into it. And he does end up behind a lot. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, obviously Protoss typically do end up behind early game against Terrans, right? Terrans have a lot of tools to try and deal damage, and if you mess up on your defense at any point, you can take a bunch of damage. CLEM has the ability to get back into games like that, but I wonder if that's one of the problems that Protoss have in general at the high end against Terrans, where it's just like, it's so difficult to play. You know, playing from behind is difficult, and a lot of the time Protoss have to play from behind, and arguably, you know, as CLEM shows us, Protoss have the tools to play from behind. But playing from behind is a skill, and it's something which I think is very difficult to adapt to, and obviously you don't really want to be playing from behind, so many Protoss, you know, the idea is you defend very well in the first place, but it's kind of interesting that maybe Protoss is this race that, I mean, maybe, I don't know, I'm just watching CLEM play, but CLEM makes it feel as though this is a race where it's like, you know what, I'm okay playing from behind, because once I get my power units up, we're good. But playing from behind in StarCraft 2 is so difficult, because those power units and those defenses can be ripped down by multitasking, and it's so hard to keep up with the multitasking of top-tier Terrans with map control you need to try and still maintain despite your lack of position in the game. Like, these are challenging things. Like, you know, there's certain games which have the comeback mechanics, right? And it's like, you know, you're in trouble, you're behind, but there's ways to get back in. But you've just got to play so perfectly when you're behind in StarCraft 2 that those comeback mechanics are so much more difficult to see come back into play. It's very interesting. It's genuinely very interesting. Like I said, you know, none of this is for certain. It is just watching CLEM play PvT. But it definitely gets you thinking about kind of how you approach the matchup. Just because we've seen so many of these CLEM PvTs where, like, he does play in this kind of style. And sometimes, like I say, sometimes it doesn't work. QA last week in the TLMC finals just absolutely stomped CLEM. Right? He just was like, bam, 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 get out of here. He did not let him play into any of the comeback units. He didn't let him get set up at all. He did damage early. He capitalized on that damage. CLEM wasn't able to find the fights that catch Q off guard or anything. You know, and Q just made it look easy. And everyone's like, well, CLEM, why the hell are you playing Protoss? That was the first time Q had beaten CLEM in the 5 times that they'd played PvT before that point. And so it's like, oh, well, you know, when you stop and then think about it like that, you're like, oh, yeah, that is kind of, you know, you can't just rely on that, because CLEM so often does find the ways back in. You can't just rely on the, yeah, I'm just going to deal damage, it's all going to be okay, I'm just going to keep on going to end the game. Or like, it just doesn't work like that. Not in the slightest, unfortunately. Adept and a Marine will have a little nibble up against one another. Marine going to shoot back, the Adept taking some damage already, as we see a few shots traded in the early stages here. And Twilight Cancel coming through, add a gateway on, a couple of probes, the warp gate coming up as well, so all of that continues to come into play right here. You know, this probably sounds obvious, but one of the biggest things I think we've seen in StarCraft 2's history as well is that the best players are the clutch players, right? And the most important time to be clutch is when you're behind in a game, to figure out how, how you just about hang on in there, how you just about clutch out a defense, you just about clutch out a bit of damage, and how you can kind of stay composed and manipulate the game back into your favor when in those scenarios. Serral would have never had his spree of dominance in 2018 if he couldn't play from behind, and if he couldn't play back into games, and if he couldn't be at his very best at the most important moment, which is when he's about to lose. Because there were countless times where people actually did do okay against Serral. They did get good openings. They did get ahead. And then Serral would just be like, bam, bam, here's a great defense. Here's a great counterattack. Here's me basically dictating how the game goes despite being behind. Like, obviously it wasn't every game. Serral was very good and actually had just a lot of good starts. And he made sure to be very good defensively too, etc., etc. But there were 100% times, and that's the thing, because in StarCraft, you can be very good, but sometimes things go wrong. And that's why it's so hard to dominate in StarCraft 2, because there is a little bit of randomness to the game. Sometimes you just miss scout. Sometimes your scouting gets denied. Sometimes you miss the drop coming in. Your units have just moved out or something, right? Sometimes things go against you. But you don't have runs like what Serral had in 2018 and so on without having that ability to kind of clutch it out from behind and to be able to adapt to the things that go wrong. And like I say, CLEM is in that kind of situation now where I feel like his PvT is all about that. He tries to put himself in good positions, but so often, think back to when we first saw CLEM seriously playing PvT in that matchup against Gumiho on Abyssal Reef at Home Story Cup. He was in an awful spot. He was behind, and it straight away, it was like, look what I can do with so few units. Look at how I can bring myself back into the game and make the game about what I've got. Not the fact that the Terran's absolutely smacking me down, but about what I've got and why I can use them and how I can use them. It's like I say, it's very fascinating to kind of think on and study, and it's exciting because it's almost like we're seeing a new style of Protoss that we've not seen before. The Protoss that is happy to play, or able to play from behind a bit more. Usually Protoss is playing from behind is, god damn it, I hope he runs into my Disruptor, or I hope he doesn't split against this Storm. CLEM relies so much less on that. So yeah, very, like I say, unique. Almost. I think that's true. It's I actually think when was the last time I saw CLEM's game in a PvT come down to a good Storm or come down to a Disrupt? It's so much more about the Stalkers and the Zealots and the Colossus. Like I say, it's very interesting to kind of see the differences. Anyways, not talking much about this game, as we've seen a fairly standard time, and a few Marines went down in a bunker, a Stalker and a Adept. We lost one Observer. I'm trying to put some work in with these Stalkers. We mentioned the Robo Bay. Colossus are already on the way up. The charge is finishing. ByuN's clearing out the gold base to potentially take his fourth base there as well. It's fine if you can hold the middle of the map, but middle of the map's super important in Amygdala, because that gold base really does just point out into the center. So if you're not holding the middle of the map, that base gets harassed and attacked and basically denied non-stop. Why bother even having a gold base if you're not mining from it effectively? At that point, you may as well just take a blue base. That's much easier to hold and gets harassed a whole lot less. We do chase down 4 additional Stalkers here, going to make it very nearly 5 as the blink came in last second. This gives ByuN a chance to get into position, and CLEM bleeding out some Stalkers. Like I say, it gives ByuN a bit of an opportunity. Who is going to find himself a fight right now, getting into position, continue to trade out. The Colossus showing up a little bit too late to protect this 4th base. I love what ByuN's doing, stimming the majority of his army forward, just leaving a couple of Marauders on the 4th. In the end, we're not going to quite cancel that 4th base. The Colossus is a little scary. The problem is we've got the Marauder count to maybe challenge the Colossus, but they're low HP already. And a couple of Zealots coming in are just very good against Marauders too. And ByuN is going to get turned around. So CLEM, again, it's that kind of a same situation. It starts off badly, he's losing Stalkers. And he's like, okay, well, that's fine. I can, get the Colossus there, just about gets there in time. He's able to commit in before the Nexus goes down. Yeah, actually makes this a very good defense, really, in the end. I say very good. He still lost a lot of units, right? So this was still a trade-out, and dare I say it was a trade-out that favored ByuN. Resources lost is heavily in favor of ByuN. It's because those Stalkers are dying. Stalkers are very expensive units, right? Minerals, gas, both of them actually takes quite a lot of both. And not only are Stalkers fairly expensive, they're units that you don't really want to replace because of that expense. So whenever you're replacing Stalkers in a game of StarCraft 2, you've got to think about what that denies you, right? It's really good if you can get 10 to 15 Stalkers or however many Stalkers you want to play with early, and you just keep them alive. Now, if Clem actually wants Stalkers in his army, that's going to eat into his gas. If you're, taking up your gas, that's going to take away from your other tech. So that slows down his potential tech switch away from Colossus into Disruptors or into Storm or just, Archons in general, right? There's so many opportunities and different ways to approach it. So yeah, it becomes a little bit challenging here for Clem because, like I say, you're definitely not loving the fact that you just lost all those Stalkers. You definitely want Stalkers because you need to make sure you can have an answer to Vikings if Vikings come up against your Colossus. And it's also eating up Gateway Warpins that could have been Zealots. You don't need too many Zealots in the army, like you want a good amount of tank in the front line. But once you get to that good amount, what you can start doing is warping and counter-attacking, so now you don't have that much of a possibility to counter-attack either, because you have to spend your Warpins on the Stalkers again. And again, those Stalkers provide power, they provide opportunity, like just there, bringing it forward, grabbing the medevac. So you really do have to respect that, as in this case, I think ByuN just needs to get out. The Colossus are definitely putting in enough work here. You can't let those Colossus just own this game again. We lost, obviously, a few Vikings already, but I think this is one of the scenarios where it's time to drop, It's time to go elsewhere, try and split up the game, stop Clem from just pushing forwards, and making full use of these Colossus. Because right now, these Colossus are just owning this game, they are owning this situation, they're just standing up there and saying, we are the boss of this, we own this situation, and they're just making the absolute most of it. And that's why you need to have a drop, make Clem look elsewhere and fall back, and that gives you time to get more Vikings out. You want a proper Viking fleet. You don't want to take any fight where your Vikings commit in, you lose Vikings, and you don't at least get a Colossus kill, right? It's not the end of the world if you don't kill every single Colossus. It is the end of the world if you lose Vikings and the Colossus are getting away on low HP. So you want enough Vikings to get in, at the very least 2-shot Colossus. But ByuN is obviously very scared because he's already let it get to this situation now where he's being bullied back to his own side of the map, and so he is not feeling comfortable to load up a bunch of units and to just go drop across the map, which is understandable, but that's where the position gets very scary once again, and that's where you have to be very cautious playing around it. ByuN opened up those rocks on the gold earlier and try and take it now. Here the Zealot run-bys are going to store cause and chaos, even though ByuN is only on the 3 bases still. Just having to pull back over this side just takes a few moments, just eats into your time and so on. 6 SCVs going down currently. Prism into the main base. You're going to continue to get split up and have to peel around. Prism, though, shot down by the Vikings. We will land to try and aid against the Zealots that got warped in. But that means the Vikings are completely out of position. So Clem says, perfect. Your answer to my Colossus is not in position at all. Boom. I'm going to take advantage of that. Just immediately moves the Colossus up, get some damage done. We've done good damage here. And Clem is playing is playing kind of ByuN around his finger at the moment, right? He's just saying, yeah, you do this, you do that, take advantage here. What I do find interesting is where Clem goes from this point, because he's got Dark Shrine up. Is he really going to sit on no other splash damage than just the Colossus is my question. And this is what I mean about those Vikings. Here, we lose a lot of the Vikings, but hey, we get 2 of the 4 Colossus, and 2 Colossus hitting that Bio army the whole time is a lot less scary than 4 Colossus the whole time. So at least this time the Vikings got some value guaranteed. Another 9 SCVs going down though, so once again for ByuN, it's a pretty brutal couple of moments where you're losing economy. You can at least replace the Vikings again. Clem will just replace Colossus. Again, second Robo coming up allows him to replace Colossus more quickly. I was also wondering, again, does that give him the chance to move into Disruptors? Because he's setting up for DTs and he's been kind of trading heavily, he doesn't have a lot of money banked up. So he can't really afford to build a lot of DTs, and he can't afford to do that alongside continuing to build tech units. So it's interesting because he's kind of stuck himself on this situation now where he only has Colossus, and the longer this goes where it's only Colossus as the tech choice of Clem, the more I believe in ByuN being able to take a good fight and to truly clean this out. However, Clem is going to just brute force his way forward and get rid of the 4th base. Yeah, the problem is I'm saying give me time, and ByuN I think can get there, but he's just not going to be given that time. I mean, this is the thing with Clem as well, because he's not kind of going into that future tech, because he's constantly fighting and trading and getting his units up and in position and doing things with them, he's able to take fights like this, and he's able to just bully ByuN to the point where other tech is not even necessary. So, GG's, and Clem takes a 2-0. It is so fun watching Clem play PvT when it's going, not even when it's going well, but when it's going a little bit badly, but he can find his way back into a game, or even in this game where it goes well. It's just super interesting. I feel like his approach to PvT is I mean, I genuinely find it a little bit fascinating. You can probably tell because I think I give it given a pretty much just a complete tutorial of a cast right there. But yeah, I find it super interesting watching him play PvT because there's just something about it that just feels that bit different. It really makes you think a little bit. Alright guys, we are hopping over to Korea because as I mentioned, our second series of the day is Kua versus Shin, so it's going to be some Terran versus Zerg coming up in a few moments. Let me throw some ads on. They help to support the stream, of course, and help us to keep on casting StarCraft 2 for you guys, so of course, you watch the ads, but if you're really enjoying, don't forget you can support the channel as well by subscribing, use your Prime subs. If you're on the YouTube right now, hit that like button. We've got 154 views on YouTube. It takes 2 seconds to scroll down and hit the like button on the stream. I'm going to do it myself right now. Oop. Yeah, you guys can hear me listening to myself. That was really full volume. Jeez. Yep, let me do this right now myself. And we are on 12 likes. We can get that number up, guys. The more likes, the more people find the stream, the more we can expand the world of StarCraft 2. Hit that like button. Alright. So getting Kua and Shin into the party here. We'll get videos started very shortly, get that underway. That's ready to kick off. There's a couple of videos come through, Error Home, Amygdala. Maybe the first 2 videos to begin. Whispers of Gold gets vetoed out as well. Shin not wanting to play on one of those smaller maps. Feels strange as style feels like other pros have to take losses or feign in the middle to do run-by damage. CLEM just wins in the middle and run-bys as well. Yeah. It's super fascinating. I think just because his control is so good on the army in the middle, you have to respect it so much as the Terran, and then you let the run-by go off. Out of no... Like, there's no reason... Like, ByuN's defense in theory should have been pretty good. Like, he was at home, the third base got hit, he got there fairly quickly, like a few SCVs for results is okay. The Prism gets into the main base, and he kills it with the Vikings before the Prism can actually get an extra warping off. So it's not even that many Zealots. But because he's using the Vikings to do that, which should be in theory a good defense, CLEM immediately just attacking up with the Colossus and saying, yeah, I can't take advantage of that? Crazy. Crazy. CLEM always targets Vikings in fights. He's very good with the Stalker control. I think CLEM as well is one of the players who is not afraid to kind of blink in with Stalkers and to get air units. Like, he's really good at being impressive with those Stalkers and just getting value out of them. Which is why I think he enjoys playing Blink so much, because it's not just about the Blink harass to start, it's having Blink for the mid-game he gets so much value out of. The thing is, like, we see other pros players doing things like this, but there's got to be some combination of things that's making CLEM be successful. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I say, he has his blips, he has his moments where it doesn't go well, but he also wins a lot of games from positions, which I don't think ByuN loses that first game to the majority of Protoss players. Maybe Hero, Max Packs, right? Like we're talking like top tier. That's kind of ridiculous how we're putting CLEM in the top tier, kind of, you know, up there with the top tier kind of guys when you talk about other people that maybe, you know, ByuN would have lost that game to. I say that ByuN has a tendency to lose games he's doing well in, actually, lately, I feel like. ByuN is part of the problem. In this series, at least. Anyways, Shin and Q are getting ready to go, guys. So we're going to kick this off. And if you're enjoying the stream, just a quick mention once again, you can support the channel by subscribing. You consider using your primes. And you can sub regularly and so on as well. Subs do get replay packs. New replay pack will be up over the next couple of days, we just discussed. And, yeah. I'm going to be getting into this. We are, yeah, we're on the slow grind back up. Honestly, the sub count fight is real. We love to be at 700 subs. 700 subs helps us much more comfortably continue to run StarCraft tournaments, guys. We keep getting up to 700, and then I'm away for like 2 or 3 days, and I come back, and it's like, it lines up with like a month ago, someone gifted a bunch of subs or something. So we're on a constant back and forth on the sub count. So if you've got a prime, if you've got some generosity flowing through you, we appreciate it. Otherwise, let's get into this TVZ. As we start up in the bottom left-hand corner, this is going to be our red Zerg player, Shin. He takes on the blue Terran in the top right-hand side of the map, Kua. I just love a good Kua Shin matchup. It's always the classic in my eyes ever since the WardiTV 2020 Grand Finals, where Kua was the one to beat, Kua was the player. You know, he was beating absolutely everyone. He had a bit of a blip. He lost to Shin in the group stage, and we're like, oh, that's a bit weird, but, you know, go Kua. He's absolutely crushing everybody else. And then Shin 4-0s him in the Grand Finals. Ever since then, that's just a WardiTV tournament, but to me that was really a defining match between those guys. That I genuinely don't think like Shin Q would be as exciting to me now if that series hadn't happened back then, because for me this is now always a series I follow and I keep track of, and I'm like, man, it always makes me realize, like, even when Q was at his very best, Shin was one of those players that could get under his skin and always be that kind of tricksy Zerg who could understand how to take advantage. And it wasn't like he just cheated the crap out of Q either. Like, this was a great series where he played actually some very aggressive Mutalisk styles. He really controlled maps. He played big macro games. Like, he took Q, you know, he took Q at his best. Yeah, he took Q at his best, and he made it, and he made him look terrible. Yeah, one of the big moments for me gaining a lot of respect for Shin, for sure. Yo, LaFranz, man, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. We appreciate the Prime. Prime sub 543. You guys just gonna have me counting, okay? I'm gonna count up to 700. 543. Amazing offer, guys. If you subscribe right now, you could be subscriber 544. 544, an incredible number. Super special. One of a kind. No other number goes 544 and then ends. So, you know, take your chance right now.
Game pause.
Shin heard the offer. He's like, hold up, I could be sub 544? Let's go. He's like, wait, sorry. I need to subscribe to what? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Memes aside, looks like Q is saying, go.
Game resumed.
Oh my god. Hamper with the 5 gifted subs. Well, now no one was sub 544. They were all 544. Insane. Thank you, Hamper, for the generosity of 5 gifted subs. Going out Dreamweaver N. I said it was one of a kind, but now it's 5 of a kind. Well, you guys, if you got gifted sub, can fight over who was 544. Dreamweaver N, PH7 Down TV, Lux Gamma, Scottster 52, and Chocobo BG. Thank you so much, Hamper, for the generosity of 5 gifted subs. Appreciate it, taking us up to 548. Now, guys, have you heard about the number 549? It's the last in the 540. Okay, I will actually stop. As Ariba comes in, harasses a little bit. The starport is on the way. The refinery is coming through. And we get ourselves a little bit of action here with the Reaper obviously dancing. Would love to get a creep tumor. That should be unrealistic. And the Queen does step down there to push that around a little bit. And get the creep team is really nice early, just slows some of the connections of the bases, right? It's just a little bit of a nuisance for Zergu. It just means that, you know, he's going to replace the tumor pretty quickly, but that tumor could have been a tumor in a different direction or a bit further forward and stuff like that, right? So that's all very cool. Reaper, Hellions, gather together. Mostly they're going to poke around, and Q will see if he can try and find some early damage here. So on the hunt to try and get some work in. Going to come back around the other direction for a few moments as well. It's just going to come straight on over this way. And the Reaper and the couple of Hellions continue to gather up. From the Hellions going to get there. Creep Teamer goes down. Again, the cloaking coming up, the stim pack coming through. Our Banshee, our barracks, our SCVs, refineries. Everything continues to be added on in there as the Reaper and the Hellions go out over to the far left-hand side. And we'll take position to try and decide what it is that they will try and do over these next few moments. Peaceful start. Hellscape is a map. This is one of the maps that's obviously not in the current ladder map pool. It's one of the maps that is being used in a couple of different tournaments. We saw it a little bit in the qualifier for this event. This feels big. This feels like a big TVZ map. Like, if you want a macro, like, this is kind of the map for you. And it's going to come inbound. Queen's going to get shoved away. More drones going down as the Carapace, the Bane speed, and the melee upgrade continuing up as well. As Banshees continue to hit the hatcheries, the Queens continue to step through. So again, just going to come straight over. Let's put some pressure on that Banshee going around the bottom. Stimpack coming on in as well. No surprise about the melee upgrades. It's a big map playing a lot of Ling Bane. Very expected. What I wonder is if we're going to add any tech to this Ling Bane. Hydra Den into Lurkers is a possibility. Could just skip straight toward Hive and go toward like an Ultra Cavern. And those melee upgrades continue to come up. And Bane speed about to finish. Hydra Den is the choice from Shin, so I don't think that's too surprising. Whether he wants to play Ling Bane Hydra heavy or make some Lurkers, both are good options, especially on a big map, actually. It's funny. Ling Bane Hydra can often have this phase where it's like, okay, you're going to get the Lurker Den, you're going to build the Lurkers, and you build like 10 or so, and then you just go back into Ling Bane Hydra. Because you're forcing your opponent to respect the Lurkers, and then you're actually just playing like a lot of Ling Bane Hydra, big surrounds, big spreads, counter-attack heavy styles. And once you force them to respect the Lurkers, it just becomes much easier to make a lot of that happen. As I'm talking about all of this, Kira is pushing right now in this left-hand side 5th base. Looks as though it's in trouble immediately, so that will not go very far. This 5th will go down. There's going to be a replacement base started up on the bottom side instead, so we switch up the direction of expansion. Things run through down on the bottom side. The Marines, the tank, continue to get gathered around for a few moments. And still just gather. The Hellbats joining up over on the left. The siege tanks continuing across as well. Thank you. Taking some good positions. Obviously, Ling Bane Hydra all coming up. We get an infestation pit started. Shin's not been overly greedy. He's not been overly greedy on the drone count. He's not been overly greedy attacking. To me, he's doing all the right things to have a very good shot at just clearing this up and not dying to Cure. This is the kind of push where if Shin had done too much all at once, he could be in a lot of trouble, but I really think he's going to be okay. And the surround here is going to be absolutely beautiful from the top, from the right, from the bottom. And Shin collapses in on this Terran army. Maybe a few more units at the top would have been nice, but he is going to come through and take a massive fight. Resources lost is probably going to go in Q's favor in the end, though. Man, that's actually... Somehow it was a terrible fight for Shin. It goes to show, not every surround from 360 degrees is a good surround. I think the tanks just stayed alive a bit too long. They got a lot of shots off. The army from the top side kind of got obliterated too. So that part didn't really surround as much as it kind of donated up the top. The extra Banes morph in. A few more Marines. Getting rid of some creep tumors. The Lings are stepping through. Siege tanks are firing. Upgrade is going to be finishing very soon. Marines and the siege tank continue about. The extra Lings coming over. Marines still very much so stepping forward, as I'm just going to be seeing the bio continuing through. The hatchery goes down. The tutor on that left side as well going to be an issue, like I say. Previous fight for Shin, not really great, but he is getting a great counterattack, and all of the SCVs begin to go down, which give you a shot at Shin. He's going to finish +2 carapace. That's actually very nice. He will probably lose the +2 melee, but honestly, finishing the carapace is pretty incredible, all things considered. Like I say, this counterattack gets 33 SCVs. There goes the melee upgrade, but like I say, at least we have carapace. It's something in the grand scheme of things. Marines step through, Fuelings get pushed back. Lings, Banes. Just going to continue to push through again. Those Marines and the Medivacs continue to chase back. They're going to get overwhelmed, and Shin is going to take it. Wow, impressive from Shin, because he was definitely in some trouble, but able to kind of knock back that army and able to obviously do so much damage on the counterattack, really coming through for him in the end. He's going to be able to get the GGs there, and he is going to be able to go up 1-0 in this matchup. Really just did so much with the counterattack, and then coming through. Only had to really crush that army in the very end. It gets it done. Jeez. Hi, Man Junior. Thank you so much for the 27-month resub on the Prime. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for using your Prime on the channel. Using that free button to support StarCraft 2. We like it. Thank you so much. Very well done by Shin. Like I say, because the first fight for him, the 360 surround was... It just wasn't good. Like, the top portion of it was kind of a gift. The units traded against that so easily. And the tank stayed alive for a very long time. It wasn't the best of trades. It wasn't a trade that should lose him the game, but it was a trade that was going to make the game difficult. And if he doesn't counterattack for 30+ workers, Pure knocking down bases never has to commit as heavily. But because he's obviously had to go and, you know, lose 30 workers, now Cure has to commit a little harder. If you have to commit that little bit harder, the entire game changes, and you have to play in such a different manner following on from that. And that's kind of exactly what we saw as... Get ready to go. Alright, and the top right hand side, for game number 2, we are going to have ourselves a red Zerg player. This is Shin. In the bottom left, blue Terran player from Team Liquid is Cure. Excited to see Shin. Hopefully levels up a little bit again, because, man, off-season Shin was such a real thing at the start of the off-season, right? After EWC, he was so freaking good. I want to see that Shin again. I want to see his dominance return. Reaper, command center. Just continue to gather in together there. We've seen a couple queens coming through, the drone and the overlord coming up as well. Drone comes across, drops down the hatchery. Reaper hops up, continues to move across. Command center, gonna take a couple of nibbles. The SCV pulls away. Marine stepping forward. The Lings get chased out of here. And the CC's all coming up. So playing the triple command center in these early stages, getting that economy very much so going. No surprise for you. Very typical way to just get yourself settled in. Playing ley lines. Great map for TVZ ley lines. Fun forward bases. Definitely makes it very interesting how, you know, a bunch of these armies end up interacting and so on. Just like ley lines in general as a map, and then TVZ, I think, one of my favorite matchups, is always a good one for kind of deeper and longer games that kind of use the whole map, so yeah, very excited there in general. Again, starport, just about to finish. The tech lab coming up on the barracks as well. It's just going to continue to bring that through for a couple of moments here, so we get all of that on the go. And yeah, a couple of queens. Just going to keep on chasing that Reaper around. Going to be a Banshee from QS, so get that underway as well. Just going to get that set up. Again, Reaper will continue to fight. I'm just going to be seeing the drones taking damage. And a couple of Lings and the Queen. Going to be there to push the Reaper around as well. Reaper is going to go on full, so Reaper dropping for the moment. I'm just going to be seeing the Ling speed and the Overlords continue to come about. Ling's trying to get a wrap. Oh, what a block! Oh my goodness, that's disgusting. The slow Zergling denial of the Hellions getting toward the main base, and that could have been bad calls. All the Queens are down on the low ground too. What a beautiful blockade by those Lings, just saying, "Nah, you don't get to come up here." That is genuinely a very nice defense from Shin. And that's rough, because now you lose all those Hellions. They should have had more value. That shouldn't have been a bad choice by Cure. That should have been a good call to be basically engaging into a late Ling speed. You can almost always get away with doing more damage if you try and commit the Hellions. CLEM does this all the time. This is not a bad move. It was just an extremely good defense by Shin. And that's pretty huge, because yeah, if you lose another 5 workers there, it just takes away some of the economy you're gaining by playing such a late Ling speed and so on. Now you kind of get away with that greed, which is really nice. Impact +1, +1, all continuing through. Tank and Marines coming up. And the Banshees will move around towards the top side. I'm just going to shoot the hatch going to cancel. The 1-1 upgrades and the stim pack coming about. And to get rid of a couple of creep tumors here. I'm just going to be seeing the upgrades continuing about. Combat shield coming in. Going to be seeing the armory going about as well. That's the medevacs, the tank, the marines, all coming through. Things run up, just going to go jumping in towards the mineral line. SCV is going to be in trouble. It's going to be a nice run by for 7-8 workers. One of the negatives of losing a bunch of your Hellions early means you've got a little bit less to defend moments like this. Thanks to sieging. Marines and Hellbats sitting on the edges. A couple of creep tumors still edging forward. Hellbat, Marines still stepping through. A couple of those creep tumors going down. The Banes are going to peel away over to the side. Melee upgrades on the Hydras. And the Banes continue to get put out. I'm just going to be seeing the Groove Spines coming up as well. Banes are going to crash in. SCV is already going to be dropping down as well. So just going to see a bunch of damage being done there right off the back. See the wing is going to run through too. And just going to be seeing a couple of Banshees going to fight. Tank going to get wrapped around. The Marines going to stim back. And this is just great run by once again from Shin. He's dominating the game in Kyo's backlines. He's just hitting. He's getting SCVs. He's getting key units. He's keeping reinforcements back. These run bys are hitting at great times. They're getting a lot of value. GG upgrade still coming around. Marine still spreading. And you just have this Ling Bane kind of coming up around the top as well. Again, just another counterattack. A few more SCVs. It's both the Banshees at home. It's a tank at home. Just means that Shin should never really be in danger on this side of the map. He's getting Hydras out in a very comfortable timing window as well. So just going to be able to continue to bring that through. Now Ling Bane Hydra continues to run in. Units from the left-hand side as well going to run up. Yep, I mean... another beautiful surround from Shin. This time it's actually going to work out as well. The surround on both sides really is effective at kind of making sure that Kyo is engaging. He's able to trade throughout. Just needs to rebuild some Banes and get going again. Kyo's army is still fairly sizable, but Shin is making moves towards kind of shutting this down. He's going to get rid of the tank again. And if you don't have any kind of real kind of foothold in this position, then yeah, the long run is not going to end well for you as Kyo, as Shin is outmining you. And Kira is just setting it. Obviously, this is 8 racks, right? So we are just full committed. This is just going to go, go, go. Shin just needs to hold on. And like I say, to me, he's done the majority of the work. He just needs some final cleanups because he's already made sure that you can't just sit here and camp out on a bunch of siege tanks. One tank is very jumpable on. You're not going to lose a lot of Banes to tanks. Maybe here, are we chasing a bit too far? I actually think we've got the link count to make it not matter. The Banes connect as well. And you can just see the Marines melting. Yeah, Kyo had a bit of army supply advantage, but what was in that army was just not that meaningful. Like, this would have been a lot scarier if it was still 2-3 siege tanks. And that was really the big difference compared to the previous game, where there was multiple tanks left after the first wave of the push-in. It did take a long time to clean those up, and it kind of put Shin in a much more troublesome spot. Here, Shin really does look as though he's going to be okay. The Infestation Pit might be something he doesn't really need. He's obviously would love to get his upgrades finished as well, take that upgrade advantage away from his opponent, and, you know, a run by like this continues to just buy him a little bit more time in that regard. Plus 2 carapace, plus 2 melee. Carapace finished already, so that is a big step toward being more equalized on the upgrades, of course. I do like the libs. Libs plus tanks, again, can definitely set up some positions that may be able to give you the trades. Like, Kyo needs still to kind of push this through. As we go towards Hive as Shin, I can only imagine he's looking to buy himself the time to get to Vipers. It's another big, sizable run by. Again, same plan as before. And this time, the entire third base mineral line is just going to drop. Well, Kyo should probably try and push forward and try and take advantage of that, and he did immediately kind of step forward, but Shin pushes him away, forces the lift off, which means that we can't commit through maybe as much as we'd like to. Yeah, I mean, Kyo is getting forced to be more and more committed. Like I say, Shin is going to be on his way to Viper soon. The thing is, he could probably give up this base and be absolutely fine with this scenario. I think he could really, I mean, this hatchery is actually going to go down. Now he's going to engage. I don't think we need to engage if the hatch dies. We've got bases elsewhere. I do not think this is a necessary move, but he comes down this ramp. He is going to start smashing down. Looks as though he made the right call. I was just thinking it wasn't necessary. And like I say, we're so close to Hive. We're so close to some Vipers. They're only going to make your life easier, so why take the risk if you know, 10 seconds from now, or well, 30, 40 seconds from now, you're going to be in an even better place. And there's so much room for Q to cover. I mean, this is exactly why, you know, this is why it was risky. All of a sudden, you've got these Marines stepping forward. I mean, the Hydra's actually going to step up quite nicely. A few Pains finish. It doesn't look like it's going to matter, but there was a little bit more risk involved, whereas, like I said, I think he was very comfortable just back away, just hold a little bit longer, you know, force Q to fight on creep. And in 45 seconds, you've got Vipers out, and that's going to make it so much more difficult for Q to ever take a reasonable trade there. GG's Shin will move on to face off CLEM, or face off against CLEM in the next round in the winner bracket matchup. And then it is going to be a Q and ByuN matchup in the elimination match. We've actually had Q and ByuN happen a bunch of times lately. I think like ByuN's been getting the better of Q a little bit, actually. Guess we'll check in on that in a few moments as we hop on over to NA, readying up for CLEM versus Shin in the winners match. Perfect. Perfecto. Oh, great series by Shin. I really feel like he was very good in this. And yet, it's funny because it kind of, you know, it still got a little bit close to the end. So even though he dominated the counterattacks and so on, you could see how it was actually still nearly enough from Kua. As the power of the 8 racks, it's not easy to work against at all. And that's why it's going to be tough for Shin. Take on CLEM here. I'm going to be RB just 1 second, guys. I'm going to throw us to the break screen just for a sec while I step away. I'll be back in a moment. Hello, hello. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for sitting through a couple moments. Hellscape, Talisman, Error Home, all vetoed. So we're going to get rid of a bunch of the new maps. We'll be playing on some of the typical maps, which is going to be LA Lines most likely, Amygdala, and one of the others. I don't remember. Oh, El Dorado, I think. So that will be our map pool for this upcoming TVZ of CLEM versus Shin. Get that ready to roll out in just a few moments. Get that set to go. Kick this off and see what we can do. Boom, 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 boom. This map will be ley lines. CLEM TVZ. I know we don't get to see CLEM TVZ much, do we? Not an everyday occurrence just because it's lack of sex. It's been a bit better lately, actually. It's been a little bit better lately. It's not been as bad. So thank you so much, Narcosis666 for the 2-month resub. Welcome back. Appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing to the stream and supporting the StarCraft. Thank you, thank you. As we are loading in 2 ley lines here, so it should just be a few moments, like I say. Yo, Gromald on the 45-month resub on the Prime as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for supporting. Players are readying up, so we're not far from getting started. Oh, Narcosis, thank you so much for the 1900 bits. Filling up the bit bar. Hell yeah, thank you so much for the bits. Appreciate it, thank you so much. Countdown's good, as you guys just heard. Yep, countdown is indeed good. We're going to jump into ley lines. Thank you again for the donation, mate. Appreciate the bits. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's go cast some more StarCraft 2. As we have got in the top right corner of the map, the blue Terran player. From Team Liquid, it's CLEM. Takes on the Zerg, who sits in the bottom left-hand side. In the red, it is Shin. Has Chipper hitting us up with a 17-month resub on the Prime. Thank you so much as well. Appreciate all those resubs. Thank you. Wardy, can you play like these guys? No. I promise you, if you watch me play StarCraft 2, you'll become so much less interested in StarCraft 2 so quickly. The whole idea is I don't play StarCraft because I think it would turn people away from watching the game. You know, like, whoa, this looks shit. This is so bad. Alright, well, we get into this this matchup here. CLEM's TVZ, I'll say it has been a bit shakier lately. Some losses to Solar. Like I say, there's not a lot of TVZ happening, but you lose a series to Solar, and I don't mean that Solar's bad at all, but you already gotta, you know, say, well, he's not undefeated lately. Obviously, he loses Cyril, it's whatever. There's a match to Solar. I do think that's a little intriguing. Like, happened in one of the weekly cups recently. And, you know, for all intents and purposes of comparisons, I think this tournament here kind of comes along kind of at the same level as a weekly cup, so I don't think there's some kind of magical, like, aha, well, you know, he's gonna, you know, be so much better today because this one's more, you know, he has a little bit more money on the line, but same sort of vibe. Solar's amazing. I know Solar's amazing. I've been praising Solar repeatedly. The reality is CLEM does not lose to Solar a lot, so you lose a series to Solar, and I'm like, Mr. Unbeatable TVZ has been beaten, for this series at least. What is CLEM's recent record in TVZ? Let's have a look. Do I know my lifetime eSports earnings on Wikipedia? Probably like $400. 130, 100 and something, 230, between $300 and $400. It's over 1K? Right. That's great. Well, I wish I got paid 1K for playing StarCraft at some point. Hey. Yo, the Pogan man, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to look up CLEM's TVZ history. I guess there's not a lot of Zergs out there. Let's have a little peek. 1K? What did I win? I must have won like a bunch of money in something accidentally. The thing is, my lifetime earnings also involves like being invited to special caster events, you know? Okay, guys. CLEM hadn't lost a TVZ since November, where he lost 2-0 to Dark in a pretty disappointing series. And before that, he lost to Shin in WardiTV Monday 7 in October. Until he lost to Solar and Cyril back-to-back last week. Now, you guys tell me, you know, that to me is reason for concern, cause for concern. The undefeated TVZ here suddenly defeated again. Mana carried me? Oh no, Mana didn't carry me. I pulled Mana down so hard he could not compare to the opponents. Yeah, that was rough. we literally got last place. So we literally, the money there is literally like, hey, thanks for showing up. We're going to pay you. 1,044. That's crazy. Yeah, 175, 175. Twitch Rivals Arcade. The Twitch Rivals Arcade Showdown, I don't think should really count either. The Twitch Rivals Arcade Showdown, where we played like Brainwell Party and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if that's a legitimate StarCraft 2 earning. Yeah, those events were great because you basically were like, they were basically like, hey, come play in this thing. Like everyone gets a decent amount of money, so even if you just get stomped, it doesn't matter. And you obviously you stream it. It was a thing. Very fun. I think actual tournament wise, $300 is about more accurate. Aliens, the Reaper, moving about. We are going to be seeing the reactors, and the refineries coming online as well. It was the highest rank I got in SC2. I was like 5.4k MMR for a couple of weeks once upon a time. A very long time ago though. It was all downhill from there. As that Banshee fires, that cloak comes up, Stimpak coming through. The Hellions continue to get joined up here for a few moments. That's higher than most? Well, yeah. I do think it's important that you play, you know, you have experience in the game that you cast. People always, that's why I don't think you need to actively play. I think there is definitely importance in having had some amount of playtime in whatever you're playing or casting. I mean, I have thousands of hours in StarCraft 2. Just not recently. So, yeah, I think it's one of those things where, like, I think that experience of having played helps me to understand things a lot better. But I don't feel like playing now would help me to understand anything anymore, right? Like, you know, I don't play at a level anymore which is going to help me understand the way things work and the way players are thinking and the way builds are, you know, working out. But having played in the past, I already have some of that understanding, right? So, I was talking about this with Austin the other day when I was at his place. It's very interesting, the dynamic there. Because some people can watch like a crap ton of StarCraft 2 and still have no real concept of how like a build order works or matches together, or how like a different gas timing truly has an impact on things. And this is like, this is fascinating to me that this was like not really yeah. Even if you're 5k MMR, you're 2k MMR. Yeah, you know, like it's not necessarily how high or how good you're on. Obviously, like players like Hearthstone and Lambo are very good at bringing you some of the highest detail and some of the most up-to-date, like, oh, well, you know, in this specific build right now, this and this. Like, I can't do that, and I don't know the timings exactly anymore and stuff. But I would say I have a good understanding of how builds work and how sacrifice here may, you know, allow you to do this and stuff like that, which is a lot more than, I guess, what you get if you don't play, right? Anyways, guys, we're watching CLEM vs. Shin. Let's get back on track. Enough about me being a crappy caster. More about Shin trying to shut down CLEM here. Shin's been so good at running in from multiple directions today. I'm genuinely so impressed. He's always engaging from all angles. Unfortunately, this was still not good enough of a fight in a game where the resource lost aren't even that bad. Shin is just struggling to kind of compete with CLEM's supply, so the macro of CLEM absolutely booming right now, and putting him into a very convincing position in the early stages. We'll be able to grab ourselves a queen, so just going to nab that straight away. And that's nice as CLEM. Just again, open supply. Like I said, the trades haven't even been super bad. And they've started to be a little bit worse now for Shin. And CLEM already shown with another army here. He's just going to have to stem back as Shin tries to jump on that quickly. I think one of the amazing things in StarCraft 2 is the feeling of pressure you feel when someone's just a bit better than you. You know, you think back to the last game, you're like, man, Shin was so good with his run buys. He was so good at being active on the map. What happened? It's because the way CLEM's playing is just making it so much more difficult for him to find the chance. Not like Shin was just like, nope, you know what, run buys ain't going to work here. It's because it's genuinely very difficult to make it happen against Clem, because Clem's keeping you so busy. He's keeping you so kind of... it feels like you're so oppressed. I played in a GSL qualifier once, and I played against Solar, and I legitimately lost the game to 2 Zerglings. And this was not like 2 Zerglings showed up and they killed my Marine and then killed an SCV and I missed my... Like, they were just so annoying, they completely threw me off my build because he was so good at poking, prodding, trying to get information, threatening to, like, get info, force my depot to raise. Like, obviously way better than me, right? And so I'd never played at that level. And so I just... The trying to cope with that was just so impossible. Like, legitimately, my entire build just was completely gone because of 2 Zerglings. Like, it wasn't even close. Which obviously should never be close, right? But... you know, those differences, while not as extreme, absolutely happen in this pro level as well, where, like I say, from Shin playing against Q in that last match, he is a little bit more of a slower player. He's a little bit more of a passive player, right? You know, can definitely be good with the timings and so on, but gives you a little bit more chance to think and do things yourself than what Clem does. And that's why I think Clem gets away with so much of what he does as well, because, again, he's so good at being oppressive on the map. And he's not as, you know, he doesn't have to deal with... He obviously sometimes does have to deal with the run buys, but the most successful players against Clem are the players who can still find the counterattack damage during the games where Clem is keeping you busy. And that's a Serral, a Dark, right? Those are the guys in Raynor, these super fast players that can keep up with the pressure of Clem and still squeeze out the counterattacks and still squeeze out the run buys as well. And it's definitely a... It's, again, I mean, apparently I'm fascinated by all StarCraft today, but it's impressive to watch because, like I say, you don't really kind of feel those details, right? But then, again, all you have to do is look at what Shin did in the last series to what he's doing this one. Straight away here as well, he's playing towards, you know, lurkers, which is kind of a, God, I need to slow the game down a bit too. So no hesitation about how he wants to approach this, which is, yeah, I'm going to get to lurkers. I'm not just going to try and get to Hive off Lingbane and Hydra. This was much more a lurker-focused kind of attempt because he knows, like, if he keeps playing the game he's currently playing, it's going to be no good for him. But if he can slow the game down with the lurkers and stop Clem from attacking a little bit, he can maybe get a bit more back on track as to where he wants to be and a bit more back on track as to where he expects to be in a game of SC2 right now. And I think that's something that Shin is definitely continuing to aim for. Lurker shots as Clem does try and find the split to attack in, and again, the idea of going lurkers just to slow the game down is definitely not a bad idea, but Clem may not respect your want of trying to slow the game down. He's still right here on your front doorstep trying to be up and in your face. Clem just doing very much so Clem things as he sits there and sieges the tanks. I mean, to be fair, you look around the map though, and Clem's focus has been kind of in that direction, and so Shin has done a great job of expanding elsewhere. And I don't mean expanding just in terms of taking bases, but look at the creep. He's got good creep out in the center. He's got good creep out to the top. He's kept on top of a lot of these other things, which means that as long as he does defend on the bottom, which the lurkers are allowing him to do, he's actually in a very good position in the game, because this is not just like Clem can now swing around and split into 2 armies and pressure 2 different sides of the map, which can weaken the lurker positioning, because Shin actually has good control of the other side of the map. And that's one of those things where Shin maybe had to make the decision earlier where it's like, oh, do I try and run by and try and find counterattacks? Or do I just survive but keep up some of my mechanics, such as the creep spreading, so that if I do survive, I'm in a much more playable position, which is where I think he's gotten to now. I mean, Clem here is going to have some decent Widowmine shots, but will be pushed back from this position. Shin setting up a counterattack. Clem is going to try and swing around the left, but he has to stop to get rid of creep. And if Clem does decide to make this move forward, it's a good fight for Shin to take because it's on creep. I think Clem's idea is he can just lift up and leave, so this is a very low-risk commitment as he leaves the Marauders in the front to tank. But yeah, the moment it gets a little bit dicey, he just lived, but actually quite a lot of units went down there. I don't like that move from Clem, and that's what I was kind of saying the whole time, right, is that I don't think Clem should be able to attack on this top side because the creep spread is there, and that's exactly what came to play right then for Shin. It protected him, and it gave him a little bit of an extra, you know, run in onto that army. It just made things a little bit more comfortable for him. Now he catches the Medivacs trying to get through the top. So actually Clem with some huge losses here. And Shin playing around what he can do in this game and now putting himself in a much better position because that's a lot of units lost by Clem. Losing those, big deal, because he loses a lot of his kind of presence on the map and a lot of the pressure. And so much of this game from Shin and so much of the secret of beating Clem is to make him play at a pace that is similar to your own. At a pace you can deal with. And Shin is doing that because he's taken away Clem's attacking options. Clem's suddenly going to become a defender, which he can do fine in. I'm actually not in love with this attack from Shin at all. But I do like that obviously it's at least not Clem across the map and not Shin having to deal with Clem. Those Banelings are just rolling into the death though. Awful attack from Shin. He did such a good job of making this an achievable game, I feel like. Just to basically donate units. I mean, it's never a good idea to run into that position there. A Concave of Terran. I just don't see what he was hoping for. I mean, maybe the distraction to get the Nidus up, but even then he got the Nidus up and it still dealt with so quickly. So if that was his play, it was a little bit too committed. Like, maybe if he threatens the run in and then pulls back. Yeah, if you threaten the run in, then you pull back soon enough, and then you get the Nidus up because of it, brilliant. But when you're seeing the extra, like, 10 to 15 Banelings, when the first 10 Banelings have already not hit a single Marine, and the Banelings are getting less close to hitting every time you roll another one forward, it's time to back away, right? And Shin just really kept rolling them in there, so losing a little bit of control, and for all the praise we're giving Shin for being able to get the game into, like I say, a more playable position, a more achievable position, unfortunately messes it up on that fight, and that's going to set him back heavily here on ley lines, as he's going to be still close to maxing out, but being close to maxing out in a TVZ against Clem ain't really, you know, sunshine and rainbows, because, you know, Clem is maxed out. Clem has a bunch of bases. He's going to be building up a bank here because you've just traded badly into him. Like, this is Clem taking control of the game, and you are now scrapping to get maxed out. Your tech is going to be, you know, heavily hindered because you're, you know, working on just trying to max, never mind having good units in your max. And you're just going to start getting dominated by Ghost. Clem doesn't even need to sit back. He's going to apply pressure again. A couple libs set up here. And again, just finding snipe after snipe because there's nothing here to stop these units from just being there right away at the moment. So that's continuing to be an issue we're going to engage on through. Clem already just pulling back, letting the Widow Mines, letting the Liberators do the work. Again, very aware of just how this goes, which is that he doesn't really need to rush into anything in particular right now. A couple of spines going to drop into position as well, so just going to get those set up. +3 melee upgrade coming about. Hydroling Banal coming through, a couple more spines in production. Leap Siege on the far right-hand side, again +3 melee. Coming up, the lunge coming through as the Lings get forward, and they're going to jump straight onto the Ghost right there as well. CC moving over, again +3 melee. Lings and Bane Hydras continuing up, add a Spire on into play as well. Keep that underway. A few changelings going to drop off. I'm just going to be seeing the army stepping forward as the bio cleans out a few more changelings in the center as well. And +3 melee upgrade about to complete. Shin maxed out, but again, my fear is you're playing against not just a maxed out Clem, but a Clem who's on 3k, 6 bases, sense towers across the map. You know, Nidus network attempts should be pretty lackluster, but I actually love where he's able to get that Nidus down. It's actually a pretty cool position, like it's outside the reach of the sense tower, so it's actually going to come up. And we are going to start again. Just a single, like even a Nidus going up, and it doesn't even feel like Shin can really take too much advantage of this. As we do roll in over here, looking to get rid of this base in the bottom right-hand side. The Lurker still just the one out of that Nidus. Okay, I mean, you forced Clem, he pulled up to kind of deal with the Nidus, but just, you know, was not really committed to. And now we're going to get rid of 2 bases back-to-back. Okay, Shin, making moves. Obviously, Clem has CCs that can place those bases, so it's important that you get rid of those bases effectively, but he did, right? The first base, he didn't really need to use many Banes on. The second base, he used some just to have that busting power. But you're forcing Clem to replace positions. You're doing it fairly efficiently as well. We're sieging again. Lurker going down. The few Marines just going to try and knock down the Nidus. They shouldn't forget Adrenal Glands. Yes. He does not have it right now. Obviously something that would help him in this later stage, especially when you're playing so Ling heavy. So yeah, Adrenal Glands would be a nice addition, of course. There's a couple of libs just going to help defend off. Obviously Clem is recognizing just where this game is going, so he has obviously made plays towards slowing this game down himself. He's just trying to set up defensively. He's like, okay, I'm not winning this off of just attack. So let's get ready to defend. Let's play a little bit more passively. That's been very much so his plan over the last few moments and minutes. As the bio steps up, we get rid of a couple of creep tumors. And knock those down. Again, +3 missiles on the way. The few extra Lings and the extractor coming about. Ling, Bane, Hydra gonna come running on through. Such a pretty good first connection. Second connection as well, hitting a lot of Zerglings. +2 vehicle plane coming around, the medevac, the Widowmine, all very much so continue to come on in as we abduct a couple of the libs forward as well. You see everything else continues to run straight forward here. And yeah, just going to be seeing the armies clashing as Shin replaces 60 Zerglings. Definitely not a cheap experience for him right now. If the Marine's going to get rid of that Nidus network as well, it's just going to be able to grab that. Viper's getting set to do some abducting as well. Bane's just going to run straight through the bottom side. It's going to be seeing the Liberator setting up as well here. It's just going to be having the attempt to try and shut this down, but yeah, Clem's actually getting pushed back. Shin getting to jump up this ramp, but man, the supply's been lost for Shin already. You can see it just coming through. Absolutely huge so far. As you now see the rest of the bio gathering up together as well. Trying to get those Vipers back full of energy. Clem turn this into a push through the bottom side. He's going to try and take this bottom side base for himself, which obviously is very annoying because you're going to be right on top of this base of the Zerg on the 6 o'clock, so that becomes an issue also. A couple Liberators pinging their way through the Hydralisks. A little bit of bio still gathering around. The Zergling moves up into the main base, +3 missiles coming through. Hatchery still taking a good few shots of damage right here. Resources lost is 45 to 30k, which is obviously a sizable difference. 15,000 already in Clem's favor. It's already getting to that point where, you know, Shin's going to need at least an extra base to really make up for the difference in this game so far. One of mine's just going to go off. Close onto the Overseers. I mean, even getting rid of Overseers right now, it's an expensive thing to replace Overseers. They cost a good bit of gas. Obviously, you got to sometimes rebuild the Overlords too if you run out of Overlords, so it does apply that pressure. You already see Shin is building new Overlords up. He's like, my Overseers are starting to be targeted by snipes. And actually, he is already getting towards being supply blocked as he loses one there, so yeah, the new Overlords are going to make sense. And so yeah, again, Overseers is actually a pretty good pickoff because, like I say, it's not just the supply blocking, it's actually the gas cost of the Overseer as well. It ain't cheap. And you need a lot of them to kind of stay in these kind of games and to be able to constantly see the goats, right? So be very difficult for Shin because we're at this sort of stage where Clem is, I really think, going to just be able to maintain his position and just slowly chip away. I mean, he could maybe take even this base that he just pushed Shin off of, right? That's another base that Shin is not getting the mining from that he kind of needs to contend with how well Clem is being traded. And Shin kind of needs a fight that's going to feel impossible to find. Because Clem's army is just so good, it should never trade as badly as what Shin needs him to have a chance. Moves like this I like from Shin. They're daring. He's going to throw himself right into the midst of Clem's production and units. But I like it because it gives him a chance at least. Like, this is the sort of thing where maybe Clem panics, messes up the fight, and then loses a little bit too much while Shin is in a position to capitalize and gets rid of production, and maybe he can camp that a little bit. Like I say, I don't think this is necessarily a good move from Shin. I think it's the kind of move that's at least going to make him have the chance to get Clem to mess up. And right now, that's what you've got to play for. These Bane lanes, none of them reach again, so the Ghost in the corner are going to be fine. Now you're going to get jumped on the Hydras. And Clem still has 5k, 4k to rebuild with, while Shin has some money to rebuild with, but he's going to rebuild more of the same. And the same is not doing the job. He's actually going to get Corruptors out, which is, I guess, fine. There's no Greater Spider, so they're not for Broods. It's just to shut down the Libs. I mean, that's so much ground army supply now, though. That does not exist for Shin as well. That he can't access because the supply is taken up by corruptors up in the sky. And that makes this so much more of a challenge in itself as well. So all those corruptors continue to pour out here. Why is he not getting fungal? I think it might be because he's potentially saying one or two fungals aren't going to make the difference, but he does not realistically have a justifiable way to commit to a lot of infestors. Would be my guess. Like, sometimes one or two fungals can make the difference, right? But it's unrealistic here, and he's not had like a ton of money either, and so he's never been able to be rich enough just to, make a massive infestors too. I think the thing is as well, it's like he was under pressure already early. I think the time to make infestors was actually like 8 minutes ago. Making infestors now, I mean, he's already lost too much to kind of have the infestors. Like, he just needs to... He's kind of being forced into like hoping he can just win with one big bust. Infestors don't really win you the game on one big bust. Like, they're not a unit you're making for one big bust. They're a unit to make to kind of slowly get catches. And obviously if you get the money fungals, then brilliant. But getting the money fungals is not a guarantee. And so I think that was... The way he would have been able to get to infestors would have just been a gamble. And this was also a gamble, so, kind of just picking and choosing your gamble. So yeah, I think the time for infestors just passed by a while ago. And again, in the chaos of the game, it was making a choice. I mean, like I say, Clem's been super aggressive the entire time. He's been in a very good position, right? Shin had those moments where he pushed Clem back, and then he was in maybe a really good spot for about 5 seconds before he took a really bad fight. That would have been the moment to potentially start adding on infestors. Instead of taking that fight, just take position, poke and prod, get some extra tech up right then and there, and then you can realistically kind of, add a couple infestors in here and there to the army throughout the entire game. But once he lost like 40 supply running into that base of Clem on the top side of the map, I think then it's so difficult to invest so much gas into infestors that you just don't know are going to be the difference. Ghost's already out. It's very difficult move to make. Shin says GG, and Clem is going to take game number 1 of this best of 3 in 27 minutes on Leylines. Was forced to slow it down. Like I say earlier, I think Shin did the right things. He slowed the game down to his pace. He brought this to a point where Clem was, a little bit more of a challenged position than what he, typically was going to be. I just can't believe he took that fight onto Clem's base on that top side of the map on the 12 o'clock. That was just... For all the hard work he did of surviving and kind of manipulating and putting himself where he needed to be, he was just like, cool. Here, Clem, take the advantage. Here's 5,000 resources. And, yeah. From that point, obviously, he lost a lot of his ability to kind of potentially hit bases as easily. By the time he did start taking bases down again, we are talking about it being so much deeper and later into the game. Like, the difference of timing there is absolutely huge as well, so... Yeah. Yo, Black Spade Kamui, how you doing? 14-month resub on the Prime. Good to see you, buddy. You're doing well. Nice to see your name. That's ready ups are being called between Clem and Shin here for game number 2 of this best of 3. Going into Amygdala for our second map. Clem leads this 1-0. Win his match here when it moves to the playoffs. We actually already know if you win this matchup, you're first place in your group and you play Max Packs in the semi-final. Because Max Packs finished second place in Group A. So it's not like there's really a good option though, because if you lose this, you obviously put yourself at risk of having to play the Decisive match. And also you'd play Hero in the other semi-final and say, Max Packs and Hero? I actually think Clem's been a bit worse against Hero than he has been against Max Packs lately. So I think out of the two options, neither are great. I actually think Clem would rather play Max Packs than he would play Hero at the moment. Maybe he feels differently, but like I say, in terms of scorelines, I think Clem Hero's been a little bit more... I think the thing with Clem Heroes is a bit more volatile, whereas Clem Max Packs, Clem can kind of understand where he's most likely going to lose the game, and I actually think In longer games, Clem seems to be quite good against max packs lately as well, whereas Hero's been stepping it up a little. But these guys are also at the level where on any given day, anyone can kind of have that little bit of an extra boost and look a little bit better and so on, right? So, hard to say exactly. Vidar the Quiet, thank you so much for the 2-month resub on the Prime. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Alright, take a moment. Coming out of a hefty game right there. As we go into game number 2 on Amygdala. Just like I said, take a moment or so, let things settle down for a little bit here. Get ready to go, go, go. We're just going to be coming about. Drone laying his queens. Coming up as we speak. I'm always annoyed with that SCV, just trying to force the hatchery into the position he would rather have the third hatch be in. So in this case, he's going to force it to the bottom side, which is the more forward third hatch. And just a little bit of being annoying here. Just a little bit of causing some frustration, nothing too crazy. As I Reaper, I'm going to throw a grenade down. I'm going to catch a drone. Still got a Ling speed coming up. And there's a couple Lings. Oh, we'll see one Ling going down immediately. Yeah, Ling speed coming over. 2 drones on the way through. Hatchery halfway done. Order command is about halfway through. Just going to see the Reaper hopping about. Queens coming over. The third hatchery is going to already be put into position here. Maybe taking some shots off that Queen's just taking a little bit of damage already. 2 shots going through. Bring the Hellions is going to go poking and prodding around. Hatchery already taking some shots. Ling's going to be taken out on the other side as well, so Clem gets a good defense onto those right off the bat. Nice and easy. And Omri continues up, the tech lab coming through, so just seeing all of that coming online for the moment. Lings and our Queens continue to produce. The stim pack is on the way in. This half attack is one that Clem's kind of been leaning into a little bit recently. To lose the medevac, we see a couple of Queens pulling back nicely. Obviously try and preserve those as best you can. Second transfusions coming through, trying to help out, give you a little bit more life on these units and give them a little bit more hope. It's going to be a defense from Shin as it's going to get cleaned up for the most part, right? Everything goes down. Resources lost. It's going to favor Clem though, so not actually a bad trade for Clem. Knocks down 4 Queens. I'd say that's completely going to hemorrhage the setup of Queens for Shin though. Like, it seems like a very manageable number personally. He's still chasing these Hellions, which I get it, some of them are low, but they're giving up a fair few Lings to keep chasing. He nearly gets the surround. If he could have got all 4, then I would have been like, oh, never mind. He got the 2 that were low, which was, I guess, the expectation in the end. Seems fairly reasonable. As we do have the couple Queens still coming up, Roach, Roar, and Lair, and drones continue to come into play. Liberator's going to head down to the bottom of the map as well. It's just going to pull that back down to the south as we will relocate and figure out a chance for it to go and deal some damage, Clem. Again, looking to try and get that into position to deal some shots here. If you can get some work done with that, then that would be brilliant. The choice to unsiege. That lip was going to take a bunch of damage. One more shot wouldn't have done much either because there is a transfusion on the queen he was hitting, so it wouldn't have actually made much difference there. So yeah, I'm making a responsible decision to unsiege this Liberator and to just bring it back home. That's exactly what it will do. Just go back home, get repaired up to high HP, and get back on track. Let's finish off the rocks open in the center of the map here for the moment. So again, just put some work in there immediately. 1-1 missile upgrades coming up, the roach speed coming through. Yeah, roaches is a choice from Shin, and not just roaches, but like a real commitment to roaches as well. This is not just roaches into Ling Bane afterward. Going 1-1 missile upgrades. I mean, currently 66 drones and just spamming units tells you all you need to know, really, that this is just going to be a committed attack. CLEM's already setting up tanks up defensively, but that tank doesn't reach the third base. It hits the area between the third, but it doesn't, like, properly hit the third from where the roaches are likely to attack in from, so it's a good defensive position in terms of the tank safety. I don't know how hard it is in terms of actually protecting the third base, though, which is where, like I say, I'm expecting Shin to strike when this full 3-base roach timing, or 3-base economy roach timing hits very soon. Oh, we're even going to get a Nidus, wow, so going even more committed. So the problem with this is, A, it's more committed because you invest into the Nidus, but B, it does give you potentially options to hit elsewhere, and maybe to pull CLEM apart a little bit and give you a bit of a better chance. Right now, obviously, CLEM is moving around with that army, and did you see the Roach Ravager stepping forward a little bit? A few Marines going to get turned away as well, so they have to respect that. They have to back off for a few moments. Another Nidus network going down as we just see the Liberator setting up as well. The Roach Ravager still coming across here just for the moment. The Hellions are going to find a whole stack of drones. No, 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 no. 5 drones go down to just 2 Hellions. They transfer to the gold base. And the Nidus goes down, and the units with it are getting crushed, and this is all falling apart for Shin. It's coming crashing down around him after a drawn-out game number 1. CLEM is going to already be controlling game 2 pretty heavily. He's going to run in. Some of those Marines take damage. CLEM's actually dropping across the map as the Nidus was up, but obviously not doing too much here, so it's kind of fine. Just trying to deny workers on the gold. I mean, Shin at this point is... yeah, okay, he's just going to say GG. He knows he already lost a lot of the units, and he's actually also losing a good amount of his economy as well, especially the gold, just not allowed to mine. He was never designed to be in a position to be building a lot more drones. This drone count was already limited. GG's. And CLEM is going to take the series and the spot in the playoffs. So CLEM moves through to the round of 4, playing against Max Packs. Playoffs for this tournament will be next week, I believe, on Wednesdays. So it's a CLEM Max Packs in the diaries already for next week, just in case they don't end up meeting in the Open Cups or anything. There is going to be some CLEM Max. Just in case you guys were concerned, there might not be CLEM Max Packs next week. We know it will happen guaranteed already this time around. So there you go. Take some solace in that. As we go to Korea, because the next matchup should be Kua versus ByuN. So we're going to get this TVT heading up in just a few moments' time. So we'll get the TVT going. We'll get that started. And we'll kick this off, guys, into more StarCraft action, obviously, as you can see and as you can tell. And we'll keep this all coming at you all. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Everything's a certain life, death, taxes, and CLEM versus Max Packs. Hero's got to be smiling right now. He's like, perfect. My biggest enemies fight him in the semifinals again. And I will fight one of Shin, Kira, and ByuN. I'd favor Hero against all 3 of these guys right now. Not saying he would definitely win, just like if I had to pick a favorite, I'd pick Hero. Hero has not been 100% perfect himself recently in general, right? Like he has had some losses, but I think it's fair to say like he You know, he's happier to see one of those guys than he has seen Clem. Obviously, already beat MaxPax in the groups. And that was the benefit of beating MaxPax in the group. Because he beat MaxPax in the group, he gets first place, which means he can't play first place in this group, which was obviously most likely going to be Clem, which is exactly how it turned out. Hence, he gets to dodge Clem in the semis. So yeah, there's all of that as we get ourselves ready for our next game in just a few moments. Players join the lobby, or the party, sorry, so we'll get some videos sorted out in a few moments, guys. It's ready to roll. How's everyone doing today? How's everyone's week going? Nearly the weekend. I won't be here tomorrow, guys. It's going to be my day off tomorrow. And then once I come back, we actually have like 10 days straight of StarCraft 2. So tomorrow, just a day off. Originally, I was taking Ellie to the vets. Now I'm doing some other family stuff. So I won't be here tomorrow. But we are here Saturday and Sunday. WardiTV ByuN Bash qualifier on Saturday. On Sunday, I'm hoping to get together the WardiTV ByuN Bash Group A. I'm hoping to make that between players who are currently inactive or have less recent matches played officially. I have 2 players confirmed so far. They're fun players. Just trying to figure out who else we can get involved, basically. So yeah, I got a couple of people I can message if other people don't get back to me. So I'm working on that, trying to make it a bit of an interesting group. Some names you might not have seen in a hot second, you know. And I'm not talking about like years upon years of not playing. I'm talking about like some players haven't played since, you know, World Team League playoffs or Home Story Cup, which was months ago, you know. So just working on some of those guys. Hopefully we can get them involved. Should be fun. This patch is so horrible. It's the exact same people every day, every week, every month, almost consecutive without fail versus each other non-stop. So what you're saying, the patch is so balanced that the best players keep playing each other. Huh. We've done it. The game is so balanced, it's a problem. Right. Back to square one. It's time to introduce the ridiculous... the ridiculous things. Yeah, I think the answer in the chat is exactly it. It's more the pro scene than the patch. The problem is, because there's no big tournament announced, a lot of players who kind of played along just for the big tournaments just aren't playing along at all right now. And a lot of players are very stagnant in their skill level because they have no reason to push higher. There's no motivation to push higher. Especially when you get farmed by the same few guys in the weekly cups who are already just a little bit higher that you could compete with, but you got to put a lot of effort in to compete with. Right? So yeah, it's honestly more of a state of the fact that we don't have a big tournament announced, and that we don't have a big tournament announced. Players are kind of struggling for that, and the pro scene itself was already not exactly the healthiest, but it kind of got by. Whereas now it's just a little bit tougher again. A little bit tougher again. But, you know, some people might come back if we get an EWC announcement, or even if they just announce that EWC isn't happening, so other people can get to work on bigger events and stuff as well. That could also be kind of cool. Just saying, you know? An answer either way would be kind of nice, just so we have some info or some idea. I honestly think the last 2 to 3 weeks have been kind of the opposite as well. Like, yes, obviously CLEM and Max Packs are still very good, but I actually feel like players have been a lot more competitive against CLEM, Max Packs, Hero, etc. I feel like the level of competition across the board is kind of rising again. So yeah, I think don't get me wrong, I don't disagree, guys. I think the problem is as well is that the current scene in terms of tournaments is very boring as well. Every tournament is a $400 cup or something slightly bigger, right? Like, you know, like the pig tournament was a little bit different because it, you know, it was actually like 10K. Here you go. But you can't just like, it's very difficult to produce those. So like, you know, beforehand the weekly cups were a really good filler because they weren't the big thing each week. The fact that the big thing each week is going to make it become very repetitive very quickly. Because there's no bigger event to break up the weekly stuff or the, I'm going to, I'll say it myself, right? It doesn't matter what I call my tournament. A Wardy tournament is usually just a Wardy tournament. Like the prize pool shifts, the format might change a little bit, but it's still like the same thing, right? So, yeah. It's just like, stuff's just a bit stagnant right now. It's just hard to do different things because we have no idea what's happening EWC-wise. So, just have to kind of wait and see. I have a bunch of plans of stuff I would love to do. If there's no EWC, I've got a bunch of plans on what we do. If there is EWC, I've got plans on what we do, but it's very hard to implement and plan around stuff when you've got no idea what the plan is, you know? So yeah, it's tough. Until then, we're just in kind of autopilot almost. Proxy 2 Rax Reaper shows up. Now, ByuN is going to be on the factory before an expansion, which is going to help, but he's very close to losing that Reaper. Oh, but his Reaper pops out. He goes 1 for 1. Feels a little sad because I actually don't think he needed to lose his Reaper. But the main thing is you're keeping the Reaper account of your opponent in control while you get up to that Hellion. That Hellion's going to help a lot defensively. The less Reapers that are attacking into you when your Hellion pops out, the better, because that means the Hellion is going to be that much safer. So yeah, the Hellion is going to be that little bit safer here. And let's just pop on through. The Marine coming over. Factor coming into play. And we will see. Yeah, I think this attack at Q is not really going to go too much further. I think this proxy is kind of meeting its end already. I don't think there's too much more to be done on this front. Marines is going to step back. The barracks right there is going to be jumped on as well. A few Marines continue to hit that barracks, so a few shots going about. The Reapers very much so sitting at the front also right now. The Marines continue to shove away, just going to push away and just do everything that we can for a couple of moments. So again, a few hits coming about here. Max just getting pushed over to the corner, and I mean, this obviously has been done. The important thing now for Kira is to try and maybe make use of those Reapers still, and so the important thing for ByuN is to make sure those Reapers don't get to do more damage. ByuN's in a good position. It's not a one game just because he deflected this. Like I say, keeping those Reapers alive at least makes them a threat on the map still. It's still a bit of supply you have to respect. One Reaper reach is not really, like I say, what you want to see as Kira. But this is nice. He's going to get forward. He's actually going to catch ByuN's medevac, and ByuN has to unload his units in a less than ideal position because the medevac's going to die, and Kira gets a jump here. Now, ByuN had more units over here, but even this is not ideal because he's actually got his other Cyclone out of reach. So Kira gets a good catch on that medevac, and that's going to reset some of ByuN's advantage right now. He gets to the high ground. We will turn and fight. He loses the Cyclone, unfortunately, but he does get rid of everything else, so even still, I think Kira's kind of okay with that. He's okay with this just being a fairly, a bit of a trade-out. Trade-outs, from Kira's point of view, in this situation, probably pretty decent, as we have the Cyclone here. Just going to work through some rocks. Oh yeah, I didn't even think Yeah, the Cyclone's actually straight up stuck for a while. He could actually kill the infested rocks to the side because they're already lower HP. But yeah, that Cyclone is just stuck if there's no medevac to evacuate it currently, which right now is very much so the case because the medevac died. Means the Cyclone gather up again. Interference Matrix and the Stim Pack continue to come on through. There's a couple of Vikings hanging out overhead. The siege tanks joining together as well. Both players start moving in towards Stim. Let's see the Interference Matrix, Raven production starting as well. Very typical TVT moves. Kira's on his way to double Liberators. Kira definitely going for a bit of a different approach still. But ByuN is playing a bit more traditionally. 2 Ravens, Interference Matrix. Kira will, I guess, just aim for more harassment basically. So that's going to be what he moves into here over the next few moments. Aiming for a little bit more harass. Looking to see if he can maybe make something of that. Nice tank. Actually getting some good shots off. Scan is important because it gives you the extra vision that you need. But this is where the Liberator is going to be really nice because that Liberator can siege. This is just a single starport. So it's not like you have double starport production. And we do have, again, the Raven here to try and help out. Even the Cyclone useful in this situation because it can lock on. That's why losing the other Cyclone at low HP was kind of sad. It's always going to have some use if it stayed alive, most likely. Fox on here again. Hit the Liberator a little bit. Scan's important, like I said. ByuN wants to have max of vision to make sure his tanks can see and shoot if required, as the Liberators push forward aggressively. But they're forced to unsiege again. And the siege tank though does go down, so ByuN going to go -1 tank all of a sudden. This makes that Kira's attack is going to be that little bit scary. Every tank is a big part of your defense. Kira, third base in position during this as well, so his economy is not being sacrificed for this. He's on the same work account as ByuN at the moment. Lib sieging up, tank still pressing through. People taking a few more shots, and we do have our Marines and medevac tanks gathered on the right side as well. That depot goes down. A couple of Vikings moving over. Marines going to get rid of some of those Vikings. There go the Ravens, matrixing the majority of the tanks. The SCVs pull in. I guess we did need the SCV pull. 11 SCVs. If that was 11 more Marines instead, that would not have been a lot left to push out with. ByuN chases Kira away. Actually has a huge upgrade lead. Is going to have a combat shield lead as well. That's interesting. Kira didn't start Stim that much later than ByuN. Did he actually... I think he actually cancelled that at some point because his Stim initially was not that far behind at all. I'm 90% sure. And ByuN now is almost finishing combat shield as well. As he gets to go across the map, army supply lead, but can he push into the tank defense? Now, it's not a lot of tanks, but any tank count is still reasonable, right? If we have 1 matrix, this would be very, very bad. I mean, tank's already set up into a good position. And I guess don't forget that now we will never have, like, you know, a way to really bust out of this because there's no ravens or matrices. So a bust out of this really does involve running your units just straight into tank fire, more so than what ByuN just did, and we saw how deadly that already was. Viking shoots, the Ravens get pushed back. This third base is going to be taking some hits right here as Kira really does not want to fight before 1-1 combat shield. Alright, we're just going to send it. ByuN's going to go and he's going to drop both of the Matrix, so he's just going to take a Marine fight where he has the better Marines. With 1-1 and combat shield, there's just no doubt he's going to target down the base. He could actually just get the siege tanks. He lifts up and he backs away. I actually think he just should have targeted the siege tanks down though, no? I mean, getting the orbital is huge as well. I don't disagree with hitting the orbital, but I actually think he could have just ran in and 1, 2, 3 siege tanks. I feel like it was possible. If those tanks go down, nothing else really stops you. Like I say, it's not really the end of the world. I think getting the base itself is already a pretty huge lead. Very difficult for Kira to play from such a rough economic position, right? So it's almost always going to be a challenge from this point onwards. Kira just going to say GG, and ByuN is going to take game 1 of this series. And ByuN going to open up with the advantage. So ByuN goes up 1-0. Am I right in saying that ByuN's had the better Kira lately? Let me check there Ligula quick, guys. I feel like ByuN's beaten Kira a couple of times. They played in the Boom and Bash qualifier the other day as well, I believe. Yeah, ByuN lost the Blue Cup to we did beat him in a WardiTV Monday. So yeah, the couple of tournaments I casted recently, ByuN won both. But obviously, I'm not the only person running tournaments. There's just a couple of events I didn't have an idea about, so makes sense. Makes sense. Going to go into ley lines. Worried about a second layer of tanks. That's fair enough, but I think it's also fair to say you see 3 siege tanks and you killed all those tanks earlier. I think ByuN actually has a pretty good read on the amount of tanks Q should have. I don't think it's unreasonable to suggest that he should know that that's a fairly kind of like... That is pretty much the tank line. Those are the only tanks out there, so... I don't think that's a crazy request. Wardy never stopped streaming from YouTube. I'll do you a deal. I'll not stop streaming from YouTube if you hit the like button. And subscribe if you don't subscribe already. Please do. I keep saying I have big dreams of 50,000 YouTube subs this year. I don't know how we're going to get there. Right now we're averaging way less than that per month. But you never know. Like I say, if you say it enough, it might just happen, right? You know, if you say it enough, it might just happen. So yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you don't already. Help us to get even more people on the stream. If we get more people on the stream, maybe they can subscribe. Maybe that's where our subscriber goal can come from YouTube. Yeah, possibilities are endless if you guys hit that button. If you're watching on Twitch and you're feeling super generous and want to support for free, hit !YT in the chat and subscribe to the YouTube. Number go up, number good. You know, I just, you know, sponsors reach out, they're like, whoa, Wardy, you have 50,000 YouTube subs instead of 45,000? That's incredible. We're going to pay you so much more now. And then we take sponsorships money and we turn it into more StarCraft. It's incredible. Am I in the UK? Yes, I am in the UK. The beautifully blue skied UK. And it is actually quite nice and blue sky today already. It's pretty outside. It's quite pretty outside. We're going to go hopping about and journeying onto the map again, ByuN with the lead in this series. And no proxies in this game number 2. I did feel like Q made a pretty good effort off of the racks, proxy racks that just didn't really do much in the first place, to be honest. Reapers coming up on both sides. Just going to see the Hellion on the way, the Command Center coming up. And get ourselves settled through here. That CC coming about as well. And yeah, Reaper's just going to be hanging about. Reactor coming up on the barracks. Hello from Leeds. Oh, I love Leeds. That's why I went to university. But you gotta love where you went to uni, right? It's like always good. Well, I guess maybe not everyone has good memories from uni, but those good memories for me. Very important 4 years of my life where we basically delayed having to do adult stuff for 4 years, long enough to go full-time in StarCraft 2. Incredible plays. As Kira gives up a Reaper and a Hellion for 2 Reapers. Actually, he didn't lose a Reaper. It was just a... Yeah, sorry. He gave up 2 Reapers for a Hellion. Sorry, it was the wrong way around. So, ByuN loses a Hellion. Kira loses 2 Reapers. Fairly equal trade. You're trading out early game units. I don't think anyone is too particular at this point in the game right now. It's kind of whatever. Like, sometimes the Hellion would be a bit better. Sometimes the 2 Reapers might be a bit better. I say it's hard to really shout about it. Factory swaps to the tech lab. Is the medevac from ByuN, while Kira this time more traditionally with the Raven. Production already starting up. No Matrix being produced right now. Could obviously still add that on. There is time, and just wondering if there's a world where he builds just a Raven for order turrets. Matrix is just so good. Like, it's almost... It's like never a good idea not to have Matrix. Like, why wouldn't you get Matrix? Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's just a timing factor. And ByuN going to go Raven and Matrix as well. It's so hard to play TVT without Ravens. You saw how important they were in the last game. If Kira had Ravens, it would have been a little bit more playable for him at certain points. Like I said, ByuN choosing to be aggressive though first, so his Raven is delayed because he wants to, you know, get the medevac out and start pressing with this medevac, which is exactly what he's doing right now. Gets rid of the Raven, does ByuN. Medevac gonna have to drop off the Cyclone, so everything's gonna go down. I don't hate it though. I mean, you get rid of the Raven. I think that's a pretty big deal in its own right. You know, he got a couple of, we got, I think, a SEV, a Reaper. Again, the Raven for everything else. I'm kind of okay with it, because again, the longer that this game goes, the more impactful a Raven would be compared to the medevac and everything else. Now, that said, obviously, in this case, you know, he was, you know, ByuN could have just been on a faster Raven himself anyways if he didn't go for that harass. But considering he didn't obviously get the damage done he was looking for, the fact he got the Raven out of it, I think, is kind of looking on the bright side of the situation. Marine tank, Cyclone, continue to gather together. The Stimpak coming through, a couple of Vikings added on, a couple of barracks are coming up as well. Just pulls away to the side, again just trying to scout about. Nice for ByuN just to be able to wander around like this. Kira is pushing though, 10 army supply lead on him in the middle of the map and pressing forward. We have one more Raven here right now as ByuN, but Kira has Vikings, so he could start to zone with those Vikings, and maybe he could push the Ravens away and give himself the opportunity. It's possible. Nothing really coming of this for the moment, however. It's kind of bounce. Kira not able to get in position. ByuN's forward defense is very good. It's stopping Kira from really taking position anywhere, so unable to capitalize on this army supply lead at the moment. Like I said, ByuN should be pretty happy about that. So continue to settle down. Marine tank continuing through. The Vikings just coming up. The Raven as well on the way. Grippy units from Kira down on the bottom side. Gathering up on the 6 o'clock. A couple of Ravens actually from ByuN going to get aggressive, so not keeping them at home with everything else. Instead, going to try and find some work as he gets 4 so far. He's got a lot more auto turrets to cast off this top one. You are going to cast those, right? I mean, Kira's making a move on ByuN's third base, so ByuN might just be distracted. Well, I bet you he wishes he had freaking Ravens on this side of the map now. Kind of a little bit silly. When the Ravens do well on the other side of the map, it always feels great. Oh my god, the orbital just dies as well. This game is done. Yeah, when the Ravens do well on the other side of the map, it feels great, but the fact that you instantly die the moment your Ravens leave, pretty terrible. And this Raven's somehow still alive, going to go for more SCVs. The thing is, you lost an entire base, so it's very difficult for ByuN to be okay here. Like, his army supply is terrible as well, so while he's got much faster upgrades, it's just not going to mean anything. Because Kira will just sit on a siege set of tanks in front of a third, and ByuN has to basically attack into the siege. He could maybe try and drop around a little bit, but he doesn't have that many units, so if he drops, it's pretty much the majority of his army. Right? Like, half of his army is a double medevac drop right now, so really would not be ideal. Setting up on the right side, 1-1. Combat shield building from Kira. That's going to be him catching up on the bio. Like I said, ByuN just has to go. He does start to build the third CC back on position though, so guess we'll see. Start sieging. A couple of tanks are going to begin to shoot. The Marines are going to stem up. The Vikings begin to go down. The tanks actually doing pretty okay for themselves. Getting a lot of free shots off as Kira is just kind of running back into position, I guess. This went way better for ByuN than I thought it should. 18 STVs die. Take it 90, and the Viking landed in the main base to help. The Raven is still being over there trying to be annoying. ByuN actually going to take a worker lead from this, funnily enough, with the base coming online at home. It's kind of funny. I guess my issue now for ByuN is, yeah, getting these units home, and if you can preserve some of these units, maybe this is a game still. He actually is going to make it home as well, isn't he, with a few of the siege tanks? Wow. We're going to be in a much better spot in terms of bio upgrades. Obviously 1-1 finishing, but we do have 2-2 started from ByuN, so here is late on the armory as well. Then we'll also get a 2-2 advantage in this game if the game goes long enough, which obviously the reason he didn't start it before now is he had to absolutely make something happen in the here and now. He did enough where he clearly feels like he can think about the future. That's still a terrifying force secure. There's so many siege tanks that ByuN has just not dealt with at all. And if they get into position, well, it could be an issue. We are attacking across the map as ByuN wants to gain those, so maybe that in combination with an attempted defense here could be enough. These Marines are going to start melting. That ain't going to do it. Raven at least out of energy. There's that counterattack I was talking about. SCVs pull in. ByuN loads up, goes to the main base. That medevac's low HP. It's not going to be able to take too many shots, and a few Marines help to deflect. I say ByuN is on a worker lead still, and working towards his 2-2 for an advantage again. See if any of that can come into play in his favor here as Vikings and the Raven steps up, get rid of a siege tank because ByuN didn't have the scan or just the numbers as well. We're going to pull the SCVs, we're going to go. Okay, ByuN's just going to send it. Wants to break out right now while the tanks are re-sieging. Oh my god, it's a mess. I think it's because the Marines stopped to hit the Vikings, so they didn't actually get towards the tanks. Would it have been better if he just committed to the tanks? I think so, because he had the SCVs pulled already. Like, that was kind of the moment to just send it, right? And just try and break through the tank line. It's not like he magically got air control here. Again, loses another tank because he just didn't have vision. Sends tower plus 2 more Marines. Drop across the map. Still trying to utilize the power of his Marines here, but there's a tank that just popped out in sieges. And there's a lot of Marines here as well. Kira is obviously not being reinforced across the map, hence why that portion of the army looks a little lackluster, you could say. This drop is going to be lackluster as well for ByuN. Gets a couple SCVs. That's not enough to pull you back into this game, not in the slightest right now. And that does mean that we are probably going to be seeing ByuN tying up this series and looking to try and win out to get a rematch against Shin in the Decisive series. That's what's on the line in this best of 3 right now, that chance to play a Decisive match. I'm just going to try and get into the middle of the map again. Stuff because Kyo's just keeping a lot of units at home now too. And he has enough supply advantage to be able to do that as well, so it just works. And it's not really a just not really a good situation right now, is there? Not really anything else to add, just we're in trouble. Straight up, we are in trouble. Marines coming about. Medevacs load up. Marines are going to step forward. The SCVs are going to go down. The Marines in the tank from the other side. Going to fight. Obviously, Kyo just has so many more units at this stage. Even the 1-1 to 2-2 upgrades probably don't matter with just how much of an advantage Kyo has. 3-3 starting up from ByuN, so we bring that through as well. I got quiet because we're kind of waiting for this attack in from ByuN to end the game. There's not really much else to say. Kira's in a fantastic position. ByuN finally breaks out of this siege, which has basically done the majority of the work towards killing him. One medevac poised to the left-hand side, maybe thinking about dropping to the back of the natural. Kira just surrounds this last army of ByuN, and he is going to tie this series up 1-1. Like I say, we've kind of seen the lights go out on this one for ByuN a little while ago already, so GG's, and we're tied up 1-1, going to a game 3. Juvia, thank you so much for the 59-month resub. I appreciate it, and thank you for supporting the channel. As we get this final map hosted for this series, and like I said, the winner of this plays TVZ against Shin, so we know for sure that we're getting Terran versus Zerg. It's going to be ultra love to decide this Terran versus Terran matchup, though. And we get ready to head into ultra love, guys, like I say. So ultra love to decide this series, Kira or ByuN, who will get a chance moving through. Prize pool, this is $1,000. There is prize money difference for 3rd and 4th place, so even if, even just winning this is a doubling up your money from 25 to 50, which is obviously neat. On armor before weapons, you thought he was fixed. He has always done this. He keeps doing it. He never stopped. He stopped for like a day. Every now, sometimes I actually think he just misclicks and goes weapon before armor. Because he always goes back to it. Every single time, without fail. Top right hand side, the red Terran player here is ByuN from the Shopify Rebellion. Taking on the blue Terran. In the bottom left, we have Team Liquid's ByuN. There we jump into Ultra Love, Racks, SCVs, Refinery. All coming up for the moment. TVT. Really anything goes for the map, I think. I don't think there's going to be too much to necessarily discuss here straight away or to kind of point out. I think this is just going to be pretty typical and standard for a few moments, if nothing else. TV moves over, and again the Reaper continuing to produce, so we bring all of that out for a few moments, get that all up and running. And Orbital coming through, factory starting up from Kira as well, bring that back on track. Well, Reapers, I'm just going to come heading across, so again, look to see a bit of what's going on for a few moments to settle down. I'm just going to shoot. I'm going to go for a little bit of a chase. That Reaper getting pushed out of there for a little while, so again, so far so good. Just chasing for a few moments. Hop up, and the Reaper Hellion response will be pretty quick. Yeah, just doing a decent job there, pushing this back. So far, so good. The Raven and a couple of Hellions are coming out as we speak, so again, bringing this up and getting that running. Also good, just having ourselves the setup continuing through. Just figuring out where we're going to go in the grand scheme of things here for the moment. So yeah, just settle down, get set up. Just going to be seeing the medevac coming over as well. Going to go on a little bit of a flyby. And using this Raven to harass. You saw last game how that can always go wrong, so don't take anything for granted just yet, as we do have the few Hellions in the Cyclone here playing defense. Q's medevac going to get pushed away. Will not go down, but half HP makes it so much scarier to get back on track as well, so difficult to justify attacking in when so much else is going on. They're just trying to take position here. Obviously, this map is actually pretty good for the tank siege just because the natural is pretty narrow. So if you siege on the natural, there's not a lot of space to maneuver around. And obviously coming down the ramp and breaking out is going to be tough. So ByuN is in trouble. Like, the position Q has already gotten here, to me, is extremely good and extremely effective. Marines going to fight SCVs pulling in. Tank firing, the auto turret is going to not do much. Yeah, obviously ByuN having to pull the SCVs is expensive. That's going to equalize the worker count and maybe obviously go further because we're not done yet. That said, Q is going to lose everything. How many SCVs do you end up losing? That tank could turn onto so many of the SCVs over there as the Viking was chasing. 34 to 38 workers, ByuN down by 4. A little bit ahead on army supply, but not crazily so. Tank still moving across, just going to come straight through here. A couple of Marines setting up as well. We do have the medevac low HP is lingering, so Kira's just going to try and set up and go again. I don't think that's a great choice personally. ByuN sees it as well, so he sees that the units are there. That's triple Raven. It's a lot of Raven energy to utilize. Definitely get a lot done with that as the Viking loads up. We're going to get chased, and air control belongs to ByuN at the moment. Matrix, auto turrets, this entire army of Q looks as though it's going to get wiped out. And the Vikings just to help speed through this group of units, and Q's just going to say GG right then and there. Not going to hang around beyond that. ByuN 2, Q1 is going to shut down this series, and ByuN is going to move on through to play against Shin in the Decisive matchup here today. So that's going to be how we go. That's going to be what we do. So that's where we are going, guys. We're going to go into ByuN versus Shin for our final series of the day. So get that TVZ readied up for you guys. We'll just run some ads. And the ads do help support the channel. They help support the stream. So they allow us to keep on running StarCraft. So thank you so much for watching them during the downtime between the matches and all the rest. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. He does just need to come through still, so just waiting on that, guys. Take a few moments. No ad gang. Insane. You're just so cool we can't even make money off you. Or you're unadvertisable too. That says a lot about you as a person. Maybe not in a good way. You have turbo? Oh, okay. So you're just a normal person that doesn't have ads. I see. I see. Makes sense as well. Alright, we are just waiting for Our next game, as you guys might have figured out already, it's taking a few moments here. And we'll be into ByuN versus Shin. ByuN Shin is usually a very fun matchup as well. I always think that ByuN Shin is a very competitive one between the two of them. Always a lot of fun to see these guys play. Streamer still gets something when a viewer has turbo? Yeah. It basically, because you pay for turbo, Twitch just take a portion of basically whatever ads you would watch, don't end up watching. Twitch takes that money from the turbo subscription and gives it to the streamer instead. It's definitely still a net benefit for Twitch, right? Because turbo, there's no way you watch the amount of ads that turbo lets you skip, or like, you know what I mean, like how much turbo costs is not how much Twitch would have had to pay out in ads, most likely. But obviously it's good for the viewers that you have that option. Pretty nice. And if you watch a lot of WardiTV and you don't like the ads, you can also subscribe, guys. You can also subscribe. Turbo is quite expensive, but if you watch like 3 different streamers a lot, it's better for you to watch to get turbo than to subscribe if your goal is to just not see ads, right? So depends how much you use Twitch. It has different value to different people, you know. Subscribe? That's a fantastic idea. Someone should tell us how to do it for free with some kind of Optimus Prime. Yeah, well, if you are an Amazon Prime user, you have a Prime sub, and you can just click the button and click subscribe with Prime, and you subscribe for free. There's actually a really interesting bit of research done recently about Prime subs. Just trying to find it. Yeah, this is it. Really interesting. So it turns out that if you are Prime subscribed to the stream, you're actually more likely to be saving SC2. There's even like some possibility that this number is above 100 SC2 savings. But if you're not Prime subscribed, almost always you're at a 0 of saving SC2. It's I saw this the other day, but it was really fascinating. The things they can figure out in this day and age with research and AI, like, gone are the days. Using Amazon. Yeah. Well, actually, what's really interesting is if we come back to this as well, there was also this really interesting theory where if you just get rid of the Prime part, this is really cool. This is how you can tell it's actually a very true theory. Because even if you get rid of the Prime part and you just subbed, it actually tracks the exact same way. So, you know, basically it works for Primes. Yeah? For Prime it works. For regular sub it works. And therefore, it's true. I don't think we can prove it any better than that, actually. I think that is an official mathematical proof that that's how it works. Can confirm. Thank you, Hamper. Appreciate it. It's basically proof by deduction. Basically just proof by deduction. It's incredible, I know. Incredible. Alright, I'm just trying to get this sorted, guys. Not sure what the dealio is. These guys just bantering on a little bit, so that's the reason we are taking a few moments here. Shin calling ByuN easy. Understandable. Alright, looks like we'll get going soon. Thank you, Hamper, for that 86-month resub. Used math symbols must be a serious study. Yeah. Like, not only did I use math symbols, I saw this the other day and brought it up on stream. Like, I went and found it, you know? This wasn't me just making it up on the spot. It's not like I just opened Paint and drew it in front of you guys. Like, this was something I saw and found again. Did you guys see me? Like, obviously, when I was doing the proof part at the end, sure, but, like, the initial graph was obviously already there. Basically proof. Alright. In the bottom left-hand side, we're going to have ourselves the red Zerg player here on El Dorado. This is going to be Shin. And in the bottom right, our blue Terran is ByuN. Is it tomorrow or next week? I wasn't sure I was going to stream. That was tomorrow, but I'm not going to stream tomorrow. I'm going to do family stuff instead, so no vet visit, but I'm doing some family stuff. So yeah, I won't be here tomorrow, guys. As a heads up. But we are here every day after that for like, I think it is like the next like 10 days after or something, at least. And then we haven't got plans, but we have stuff to run. So. Top tier research aside, is it better for me if you watch the stream on Twitch or YouTube? Wherever is better for you. Whatever makes you happier. The most important thing is that you want to come back and watch more. So if YouTube gives you a better experience, watch on YouTube. If Twitch gives you a better experience, watch on Twitch. That's the beauty of streaming on both. You can pick and choose. Minexy, or Minexy, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. People gonna shoot. Fueling's going down. YouTube has vibrators of ByuN. Yeah, but YouTube doesn't have Twitch chat. But you know. People gonna shoot. A couple drones taking some damage. A few shots coming around here as we set up early. Try and get some work done. You normally watch on YouTube but downloaded the app to Prime Sub and support SE2 eSport? Damn. That is some passion. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hell yeah. Appreciate the sub. Thank you for going through the extra effort to get in here to do it. As we do have our link speed coming about, a couple of Hellions coming over and reset up onto this opening game on El Dorado. Interesting base choice for ByuN. He's going to take the gold on the top side. We don't see this done a lot by Terrans. Yeah, we don't really see that a lot, so already a little bit of an interesting move there. As you see, the couple Marines going to come across, the Overlord will take some damage. Yeah, kind of fun, because taking the gold base on the top side definitely lets you push through the top quite nicely, and that's where Shin is expanding to, so the thing is, if Shin expands through the top and continues to expand through the top, you can just take the top left base, and it's very hard for ByuN to ever push there. But maybe you can get some good positions through the bottom side, so maybe that's the plan of action right now. These guys are being very chatty with each other. And told off by refs. You guys agree with ByuN? Same. It was a very insightful comment. How did they flip language on the keyboard so quick? There's a hotkey. It's like Control Q or something. If you have multiple keyboards activated already on Windows. Or Windows and Shift. There you go. Gonna see the couple of queens gonna hit and the Banshee's gonna deny. Shin finds that funny. ByuN finds that funny. Beautiful. As yo, Hung Wilo, thank you so much for the 5-month resub on the Prime. Save SC2. Hell yeah, thank you so much for the 5 months. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Use Windows and space. There's probably a bunch of things you can set it to. What's important is that there is a hotkey, and these guys use it. That's the information that we need to give you. That's the information that will be had. Couple queens gonna fire. The Banshees take some shots, getting pushed away for a few moments. Creepsman is just spreading across the front. The Marines and the tanks gathering. The Ling Bane is going to go jump toward that Marine tank army. The tanks will unsiege and relocate a little bit. Knocking down a little bit of that creep spread already as we just see the +2 attack armor upgrade. +2 attack upgrade continue to come in right now. Creepers keep on getting blasted, so actually do clean up some good creep in the center. There's a bunch of units down the bottom side from Shin. And I was going to say, I don't think there's any openings over here, though, because ByuN doesn't have a base down there. He's actually taking the fall from the top side, so Shin, I think, was looking for something that just doesn't really exist there right now. Does come back across as drop defense in the end, which is nice, but still not exactly ideal overall. Marines come through, a couple of humans still very much so taking some damage. This queen goes down as well. Just gonna see the Lings there getting through, the medevacs lifting off. We get rid of another queen. 2 upgrades. There's got augments coming about. Bane's continuing through. The Hydra's gonna sit behind the wall off there and continue to nibble and just deny gold-based mining. This is fine when there's Hydra's here. Before it was only Zerglings there, which is why I was critical of the of what was going on. It was obviously a little bit odd. As that Ling Bane Hydra just continues through, we are pushing at the top side, so ByuN trying to get some damage done. Put some work in already. see the time just coming across. They're going to hit some of these Marines, so the defense that's in position is not exactly getting the job done either. But ByuN's position to the top left is scary, and Shin is going to have to give up that top left position right now in order to push this back. Marines get on top of that hatchery, so this hatch will fall. And we'll just see another hatchery coming up into the center here and continue to push on through. A couple of SCVs just dropping, the other SCVs coming back through, but the Hydras are still there, so that's not really ideal. Shin definitely just getting a little bit done, obviously denying that gold base is nice. He's set up now to potentially run in here, and he's going to go jumping onto this planetary fortress, so an immediate move. Decides not to go for it, comes up here to try and get us around instead. ByuN is pulling back to deal with these lings, but already 13 dead SCVs. 18 and counting. Obviously, quite a few lings go down, but the economic damage already is kind of proven itself to be worthwhile. And yo, Hemrick B, thank you so much for the 9-month resub. Also on the Prime. Thank you very much, we appreciate it. Only 2 more lings. 2 more lurkers. Obviously, lurkers do change the pacing of the game a lot, makes it much tougher for ByuN to push through. Likely going to put ByuN into a position here where he will realistically have to start getting some ghosts out. If you don't start getting ghosts out soon, I feel like you're going to end up in some trouble. As you are going to see the Marines pulling back, the Bane's still stepping forward. Marines just going to hang about there. Lurk is in a good position. We do see the Marines getting pushed around the sides. Now Medevac's going to unload down to the bottom side instead. Drone's taking damage. 9 workers going down. Nice drop. Really doing damage on that top left. The top left has been a problem for Shin for sure. That's been a big issue for him throughout this. As we now step forward, we're going to knock down these rocks. Oh, we're going to get them low. I like that move as well. It gets the rocks low so you can target them down in an instant and cut off that army. So now you can't chase in this direction anymore, Shin, because you threaten being cut off. And that's not really something you want to have happening as we finally deal with this drop, but, I mean, masses of damage done by it. Bane's getting cancelled. Lurker's trying to bower up once again defensively here. See what they can. And for the moment, the Lurkers are going to be good to get ByuN to back away. Ghost Academy building. Like I say, ByuN has to do a lot of time buying here to get enough ghosts up to realistically be a threat in this game. I think that's where we're very much so sitting right now and trying to figure out over these next few moments. What do you have? So many channel points, I need to add another reward. What reward would you like? Yo, Center Gravity, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Access to the Wardy OnlyFans. You guys don't have enough channel points for that. Lurker's gonna shoot. Marine's getting turned around. Lurker's just staying in production, and you have that +3 melee coming up as well. Big push from Shin, though, coming across through the middle of the map. Are going to set up. A few Lings getting caught. The Banes, the Lurkers getting caught as well. And I mean, Nida's attempts continue to try and come up, but ByuN's been pretty good at defending them so far, making sure that nothing really comes of it. It's been a good game. It's actually been a good back and forth game. Both players have consistently found damage throughout. Being a very fun one to watch as we just have Bane Lurker continuing to settle here. We're seeing the Nidus popping through, and just going to see a few more lurkers popping out of that Nidus network, so just going to get going there straight away. More shots coming about. These couple of lurkers going to get jumped on as well, so just going to see those getting picked away at. I mean, again, we finally got a Nidus up in this base, but it didn't really do enough overall. Shin is actually just going to rip him apart with a fight on the front at the same time, so funnily enough, that is going to be good enough right there, and that is going to be good for game number 1. Oh, Shin really just showing up and popping through. He's able to get himself that victory. Nicely done, nicely done. Alright, next game coming through in a couple of moments, guys. We'll get this underway. Game number 2, as ByuN was finally picked apart by the Nidus network play. I actually felt like it was a very good back and forth game, but ByuN was had the better taken from him in the end. Mutas would have been good in this game. Mutas are weird because mutas obviously they cost a lot and they're not good at fighting. So not necessarily. The problem with mutas is that they weaken so much of the rest of your army. So it's a very different game if you play mutas. Shin winning this would be nice for the playoff distribution. I'd like to see Hero versus Shin as well. When was the last time Hero and Shin played each other? Let's have a peek. I feel like that's a matchup that doesn't happen as often, to be honest. In February? They've only played like 4 times this year and 3 times were in January. That's actually kind of bonkers. I know Shin plays in less online events, but the fact he doesn't play Hero very often is actually kind of spectacular. Shin bottom left and ByuN top right as we play on Hellscape here for game number 2. Big map, we've seen it before a couple times now in this event. Let's see if... I honestly think this could be like a 40-minute epic mine-out map for these two, so let's see what happens. Well, we sit, we chill, see what happens. Don't imagine too much will go on in the first few moments. Kind of like Hellscape. I think this map is too big for no reason. I think it's like big for the sake of being big almost. It just feels huge. Maybe that's not a bad thing, but maps that are just naturally huge are typically, I feel like, over time, much less interesting. I mean, we've had some fun games on it so far, to be fair. People moving around. couple of queens stepping through, Reaper taking some damage. Yeah, this Reaper just been bouncing around. That's pretty much it for the moment. Queen's gonna drop down. A little bit more creep spreads, just getting that set up again. Put that straight into position. Reaper, Hellions coming over that left-hand side. Link speed coming up. The Lyra's on the way. We'll continue to bring this online. There's again a couple more queens coming through. Add the Zerglings on. Hellions and the Reaper are still very much so gathering together here. Yeah, that Stimpack is over halfway done as we get one more creep team already. He's just going to be again able to grab that right off the bat. And the Reaper just going to start running straight through. Just going across right now as we have 6 SCVs going down because there's a Ling run by into the main base. ByuN nearly lost his Stimpack. 6 SCVs is already great. Can you imagine he got his Stimpack cancelled as well, though? My goodness, that could have been kind of disastrous, to be honest. That was very nearly a disaster for sure. And there's the Reaper. We'll go down to the bottom left-hand side, so they're going to try and make a bit of a push across. There's Yo, Meek Agway, thank you so much for the 3-month resub. Welcome back. And thank you so much for supporting the stream. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Reaper and the Hellions, again, still cruising around, figuring out where they want to be. A couple of the creep teamers will begin to drop. It's just taking those straight out already. Do you see the Reaper and the Hellions continuing to again just gather up for a few moments? So again, I'll look to see what we can maybe do for a few moments. Queens very much so gathering around. Combat shield finishes as well. ByuN may be able to get a little bit more aggressive out on the map, so we'll see if that's part of his plan or not. Get all of that underway here. Get settled into place. See what we can do. The Bane's just going to chase up. Reaper and the Hellions going to get pushed away for a few moments, already getting kind of shoved out. Just for the moment, nothing too crazy overall, I would say. I'm just trying to turn around onto the Banelings, but that's not quite the control you expect from ByuN. This drop is getting completely bopped to begin with here, quite frankly. Not going great so far. Definitely not ideal at this point, as we just have ByuN just being denied on every front at the moment. And the more that this continues, the rougher it's going to become. We've seen a few shots coming around. We are going to be having the medevac there. Very nearly going down. Super low HP as it tries to escape out of there. Mine and the Marines continue to settle into place. And these Marines are actually going to get this half blue, half gold base in the upper left-hand side, so that is going to be a nice little pick-off right away. Going to be able to make a grab on that, and like I say, a big bonus already in that regard. Extra round of barracks coming through at the front. A couple of Banes trying to reach forward, seeing what they can do as well. Do see the Ling Hydra very much so just joining up right here. Getting settled. Well, Contaminate slowing down some of the barracks production, not something you see every time, but not a terrible choice either. As you can see, the Ling Bane Hydra continues to move on through, pulling back over the other side. Just going to try and get rid of some of those Marines, which are going to get pushed back for a moment or two. It's going to get turned away. He's going to stem up, and again, a couple of those creep humans already beginning to go down, so creep starting to fall. Marines going to try and chase an Overlord down. That's not really doing much of anything here for the most part. Last EV's dropping. ByuN trying to get back across the map. It's such a long way for ByuN to get across the map, though. Like, this feels very difficult for him to truly move to the other side. I don't feel like this is an easy situation for him in the slightest, as we just have those Lings moving back up. A few more Banes morphing in, plus 2 Carapace on the way up as well. The Banes trying to rack into the Marines here. And as the Marines have to pull back just a little bit further again. Regather ourselves as we just have ourselves a few SUVs still going down. The Marine's going to get rid of a couple of the drones, so just going to get a jump onto those as we settle. It's just hanging in the back, just continue to gather. We are going to be seeing Shin obviously a little bit more of an aggressive push forward right now, so in we go. Pushing straight through over here as we get in. The Baneling's actually connecting very nicely. Shin completely dominant in this match right now. Just going to completely shut ByuN down. The first game was a lot more back and forth. The second game, and ByuN just got shut down at every possible point. Shin looking good. 2-0. Love that for Shin. And I love that for us. It means a Zerg in the playoffs, which will happen next week. That's going to be on Wednesday next week, guys. So next week on Wednesday, Hero versus Shin, best of 5, CLEM versus MaxPax, best of 5, and then the best of 7. Grand finals is how this tournament's going to play out. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alright, guys, so that is going to be it for us today. Only 3 hours again. I don't love it, but I don't really have anything else I want to stream. You know, I don't have any StarCraft games to cast. I don't really fancy playing anything on stream, to be honest, right now. Rivals? You guys want to watch me be bad in Marvel Rivals? I haven't played for a couple of days. I got tilted. I'm completely hard stuck in Platinum. So I keep getting up to the border of Diamond, and then I just fall all the way back down to halfway through Platinum. I've just been getting the most miserable teams. You guys want to watch me suck at Rivals for a bit? We can do that. If you're on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to turn the YouTube off. So yeah, I will see you guys later on YouTube. I'll run some ads. Sure, let's stream some Marvel Rivals for a couple of maybe an hour or so. Like I said, I've not played for a couple of days because I've been last played March 18th. Yeah, I've not played for 2 days because I was tilted. Yeah, we can play a little bit. Sounds good. I still playing hardcore WoW? No, I don't know if you can hear because I just ran ads, but I gave up on the hardcore WoW stream. I just realized I wasn't going to get to the point of raiding and stuff, and I just lost interest. Next time, I'm going to get on it a bit more quickly, and we'll definitely hit 60 for sure. Be fun. 40 is bad at Marvel Rivals. So if you guys are going to head off, there'll be no stream tomorrow, but there will be a stream on Saturday and Sunday, Boomer Bash Qualifier and Boomer Bash Group A, which I'm still working on. Alright, let's be bad at some Marvel Rivals then. Let's do it. Like I say, it's been a painful experience recently. Roll my dice. A 1? Insane. I got some units. And actually insane. Alright. Where am I at? I'm in Plat 2, yeah. My match history is miserable. Win, loss, win, loss, 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 win, loss, 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 win, win, loss. Not so bad down here. I've just been like hard stuck platinum. I think I was diamond for like a game or two. And I like basically as quickly as I could drop out from diamond, I I did. Yeah, I think I made did I make diamond? I can't remember. No, I think I was a game away from diamond. Like any win would have done it. Didn't make it though. Oh. Oh, I forgot to turn my stream off on YouTube. Bye, YouTube. YouTube thought they were gonna get some sick non-StarCraft action? No way. I forgot to actually turn my stream off. Smart. 200 IQ.